And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SA20 semi-final time. You are on Forever Sports, and you're joined by myself, Steve P, and Mr. Dan Scholz, sporting an interesting choice of shirt, but we'll allow it. We'll allow it. And it is SA20 time. Dan, how are you?
The Reds comment was unneeded, but perhaps warranted.
Listen, we've taken your abuse the last couple of years. We're going to be able to give it back for a bit. So,
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll try. We'll stick to cricket because there's a little bit more. There's a little more to say about it. So, yeah. So we've got a semi-final between the Pretoria Capitals and the Paarl Royals, and it is a delayed start. Obviously, that's why we are 1 hour late from going live. But we've lost no overs, and the big news at the toss is that the Pretoria Capitals have won the toss. Sorry, Royals have won the toss, and they will field first, which is interesting because chasing has not always been the favoured decision at the time. But Dan, what do you make? I mean, it's a bit of a wet outfield, which means batting second. Duckworth Lewis probably quite likely to come into play later. What is your take on that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they've, to be fair, battered most teams doing either or. So I don't think there is too much of a leniency from a team perspective. But I reckon just hoping maybe it's mostly wet now and try and make use of that. The ball's going to be, although it's going to be very difficult to bowl in. I don't know really what you want when it is wet. It's just maybe just a take on their part.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is obviously we're not going to sure what the pitch is going to play like with the rain and after as well, where they're still sort of drying up and stuff. But first of all, these two teams played yesterday, and the Paarl Royals were quite convincingly. In fact, they only snuck through to the semi-finals. They needed to get 100 and I think it was like 60 odd. I mean, they had to qualify, and they got to 167. So literally, within like 6 or 7 rounds, have actually almost sort of played themselves out of the semi-finals. But a new day, a fresh start. But surely Pretoria Capitals have got to be the favourites and the expected ones to go through to the final.
100%. I mean, they have lost Paarl, so and there's been a lot of chit chat in the Webersphere about Tennis de Brain's captaincy choices with certain bowling down at the death. But I think beyond that, they haven't really had to focus on any individuals. I think even their most expensive player, Riley Rousseau, has been their probably biggest underperformer. So I mean, if a man can step up now in playoffs, it's a pretty complete side.
Yeah, and I think that he has been pretty poor, but we did see that knock from him the other day, where he sort of looked a bit more towards himself. I think that Colin Ingram, for example, coming in had a very nice knock yesterday. Striking about 200. It was interesting to see him coming quite down. The order Kusal Mendes yesterday looked good. So I mean, it's a side that's been good the entire tournament, but also I think quite importantly, he seemed to be peaking at the right time. Phil Salt looked good yesterday. Jimmy Nish was playing well. I don't know, Kia's on fire. I think obviously Wayne Parnell is a big loss. But you look through that 11, and there's nobody really who hasn't had a decent knock or a decent spell or a decent time within the last sort of 3-4 matches. It's difficult to see chinks in the armor.
Yeah, agreed. I think in T20 cricket, you need 3-4 people to have a decent day per game, but throughout a tournament you need your whole team pitching in with those decent days to make sure you get it through. So whether it's scoring 80 runs or taking 3 wickets for decent economy, you need a handful of your batsmen, a handful of your bowlers to be kind of dovetailing in that, which they've done, what they've been the best at by far.
Yeah, right. Now, we're putting a poll out in the comments, just in terms of who do you think is going to win this clash between the Paarl Royals and the Pretoria Capitals, PC versus PR. And speaking of the Paarl Royals, Josh Butler currently being interviewed. He's going to be a big player today. But look at the Pretoria Capitals lineup. Paul Sterling was a late addition to the side. He comes in at the top of the order. He'll be batting alongside Jason Roy. Josh Butler said to come in at 3. Dane Villas into the side. Owen Morgan being back, which is interesting because he hasn't played too much throughout the tournament. David Miller, obviously probably one of the best finishers in the game right now, if not the best. Andy Petler does keep a spot. Evan Jones who's been top notch with the ball. Bjorn Fontaine, who's now playing at a ground. He's played a lot of cricket at the Wonders. Debre Shamsi, and then Lungi Ngini, who will be looking to be the strike bowler. The big thing for me, I think, if you're looking at this lineup from a Paarl Royals perspective, is they've only got 5 bowlers. So if one person is off their mark, they can't really hide today.
Yeah. Interesting, having dropped Ingram, that would have been for Dane Villas, and they, Ingram bowled those 2 overs, one wicket going, really well, and one not
Ingram's
so well.
Ingram's at PC, Chief.
Sorry, no, lack of homework done. Then who's been replaced on that from yesterday's game?
So looking at it now from a Paarl Royals, the person, so there's no Corbin Bosch. Was there, I think Cody Yusuf yesterday.
Oh, there we go, Cody Yusuf.
Yeah, Mitch van Buren's come out as yeah. So they are missing that extra all-rounder.
I guess going with the experience of Dan Villas at the back there.
Yeah, it sort of makes you wonder if they might come a bit short, because literally, when we say there's no bowling options, you've got Dane Villas, who's a wicket batsman, Josh Butler's a wicket batsman, Miller, Morgan, Roy, Sterling. None of those guys are good. I suppose Sterling, bowls. So I suppose you can get some.
Yeah, you can get a couple of offies.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Miller bring himself on there. Just
I don't even know what Miller bowls.
Just why not? Do you ever remember watching Ricky Ponting bowl?
You're very, very.
It's like a round arm, medium slow.
Did you ever remember watching Hashim Amla bowl, where he was like throwing those like weird things in, and he was like, "What the hell is that? That surely that's not legal."
If that's not what the SA20 is about, then I'm not sure what is. So
okay,
I think
we've already had one person banned for legal action. Let's not get other guys in and start. The commissioner will have a very busy couple of days for the final.
Yeah.
But the play will be underway in about 8 minutes' time. As I said, the Paarl Royals will be fielding first. They're very wary about the rain in the area, and so they want to see what the pitch looks like. Obviously, with Duckworth Lewis, stuff like a potentially coming to play. A couple of big names missing out in terms of both sides. No Shane Dadswell has been back quite a lot by the Pretoria Capitals throughout the tournament. Josh Little as well, being left out from a Paarl Royals side. No Mitch van Buren, which I think is an interesting. He hasn't really come off with them, but he would have been playing at his home ground. So it must have been a temptation to have given them a go there. But Obian Libber, I think, is an interesting decision as well from the Paarl Royals perspective. I'm trying to work out what's happening with our TV stream, which is all seems to have gone down.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't look like there are any. The only change is Pretorius was there. I think it's an unchanged capital size by the look of it. So, I mean, backing themselves, as I said, like every single one of them is kind of chipped in. For me, I was thinking, you play of the tournament type of vibe, and you could go, I guess, Butler and Faf have really lit it up with the bat, and a couple others with the ball. But pure entertainment factor, it's got to be Jimmy Neesham for me.
Yeah, and I mean that just his fielding on his own. You think of the catches he's taking.
Ridiculous, and also like chipping in, mere 3 wickets yesterday. He's been scoring, 40s here and there between matches at like a 200 strike rate. Like, what a player to just have in a T20 team, just to literally doesn't kind of go missing ever.
No, it keeps involved in the field, involved in the runs, involved in the wickets. Just when in doubt, you can just go to him and say, right, what can you give me? And he can give you most things. But I think let's actually take the time to look at some of the stats and see some of the players who are to watch. So Josh Butler is currently the leading run scorer in the tournament. He scored 378 runs at an average of 42.8. The only Pretoria Capitals in the top 5 is Will Jackson, who of course left the squad, will not be involved. But Anok Nokia will be in display. He's taken 16 wickets so far in the tournament. Second only to Gerald Coetzee. He's got an economy of 6.172. Paarl Royals bowlers in that top 5, and Bjorn Fontaine with 13 wickets and an economy of 6.5, and Evan Jones with 12 wickets and an economy of 9.45. We're looking at some of the other players who are sort of in the top ones over there. I think We've got, that's pretty much Josh Butler with some of the most, with 35 fours so far this tournament, quite a lot. But so there's a couple of big name players from both sides. But I think that Anrich Nokia, for me, is the big one to watch. He's been bowling so well. He just doesn't seem to be able to make any sort of mistakes. And he's going to be bowling against a Paarl Raw side, which can find Paul Sterling, Jason Roy, Josh Butler, Owen Morgan, Dave Miller. Those are you're talking about 5 out of your top 6 in that Paarl Raws, all international proven quality.
Yeah. No, I mean, Nokia's been ridiculous. And I mean, he's always striking, and it's crazy. It's the amount of dot balls that he racks up, which I think just creates so much pressure, and then people go for that release shot against the bowler that they really don't want to be going against, and that's I think how he's been getting a lot of his wickets. He's just grinding people out. He's also even being brought a lot in that middle over section where they've felt like they've been able to pounce and just get that middle order wicket that knocks over their last real informed batsman or the last pairing that they needed to get through, which has often just dismantled the batting innings of the other team. I think that's been he's been central to their success.
100%. And I think he's been that kind of player whenever they've needed anything, they could just turn to him and he'll kind of continue to produce the goods time and time again. But so now let's talk about the sort of the approach. We're about to. So I mean, you said players underway in 4 minutes, and you've now got rain around. So you're wondering now, is Duckworth Lewis going to come into it, which means you're going to have it always comes in. Obviously, run rate's going to be important. You don't know, even if we play 20 overs, you don't know what a compared to score is. Playing at the Wonders, whilst we've seen the JSK defend 160, 170. It can be quite a high scoring ground. Maybe not as high scoring as people would like to have been in the last couple of games. But you've got to be quite aggressive, don't you? Because the last thing you want to be is trying to sort of build an innings, get rain, maybe not be able to finish it, and all of a sudden the revised totals for the Royals is something quite achievable.
For sure. I think it's also interesting what the teams will do with their batting lineups, especially from a chasing perspective. If that'll change at all, bringing in even potentially opening with someone like Butler if there's forecast rain to come soon and the total is not too big, that they might try to get it over and done quite quickly with someone. I mean, he's proven to be able to hold an innings and then just turn it on whenever he wants. So I think that's where it's generally that second innings where things get a little bit crazy. People are, even from the bowling perspective, you're not necessarily bowling certain bowlers in positions they would be. Also, just I guess there's a general discomfort in that, in the players not knowing their usual role. So it's how adaptive can you be, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. But having a look at some of the strike rates, and if you look at the strike rate this is the T20 career strike rates. Phil Salt 151 at the top of the order with Mendes 136, the Brain 129, Ryden So 142, Colin Ingham 137, Jimmy Nish 142. So some very, very good strike rates within that Pretoria Capitals top order. You also got the likes of Miguel Pretorius you can chip in, but Ethan Bosch as well. Those don't hold a bat. So does Mutasami. Your four internationals in the Pretoria Capitals are Phil Salt, Kusal Mendes, Jimmy Nish, and Adil Rashid. So 2 openers, an all-rounder, and a out-and-out attacking leggy. Looking at the Paarl Royals, their 4 internationals today are Paul Sterling at the top of the order, Jason Roy, Josh Butler, and then Owen Morgan. So 4 batsmen for the Royals. Backing all South African bowling line at the likes of Evan Jones and Dilipet Tupai, Bjorn Vertain, Lungi into Bay Shams will be doing the bulk of the work, and Paul Sterling might be chipping in with a couple of overs there as well. The players are in the middle. Phil Salt will be facing the first ball. Very quickly, Matt, if it does go 20, that's Dan. If it does go 20 overs, what do you think would be what score are they walking off going? Yeah, that's enough. We can work with that.
I think anything 180 plus. They're such a good batting lineup. They are capable of scoring 200, but I think they'll back themselves. Even 175, I think they'll be more. They'll be happy with. I think with the conditions as well. It'll be interesting to see if it does affect these bowling conditions, especially for someone like Nokia or Ngidi, the fast bowlers being able to hold on to the ball. I think that's generally the total I think they'll be looking for.
Right, there we go. 175, 180 is the call from Dan there. Lungi with ball in hand. We are just a couple of seconds away from the start. As he goes trundling in the first semi-final of the SA20, a bit of a false start. He's going to have to go again. But yeah, the first semi-final of the SA20 at the Wanderers is Pretoria Capitals versus the Paarl Royals. Lungi Ngidi will start proceedings. He'll be going to Phil Salt, who is a right-handed batsman. Not the fullest Wanderers. I think the rain probably put in a damp on a lot of spirits. I know a lot of people were supposed to be going. And here we go. So Lungi Ngidi, when we look to start well here, he's going to go over the wicket. And once a good length and ready, catches it on an outside edge and drifts it down to third man, which is Andile Petlequire. And yeah, almost a bit of a false shot early on.
Yeah, it seemed to pop a little bit, which is good to see. It means that the deck has a bit of life in it, as you should expect at the Wanderers. But I guess there was a worry with the rain coming down. But no doubt they've had the covers on all day waiting. I wonder if they've prepared a brand new pitch or they're using yesterday's. Surely this will be a new one.
I think I'm trying to work it out. So I'm trying to look at it. I think it will be. I think it does look the same one as we saw on Monday.
Okay.
I'd like to see a bit of an aerial, but it looks like it's the same one. I'll be interested to see if that'll be the same one they'll play on Saturday, or if they look to prepare a new one. Well, they said that the one on the right hand side could have been the one for Monday. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they were trying to eke out this one for the semi-final and then look to try and produce a new one for the final, or whether this is going to be the same one for the semi-final and the final. They do have 2 days to try and sort of reinvigorate it a bit as well if they want to. But you can see there's a deck on the right-hand side there, which looks like it could be readied up. And a nice little bit of movement there. So, man, is happy to watch that go by. He has started very well so far this tournament. Very good power play bowler. Nice change of pace. But Kusal Mendes is a very good touch. Once again, that really good length there. Also taking off the length a bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jeepers, has he proven himself in the last 18 months as a proper T20, attack member? He was, everyone knows him as just a good international bowler, but I think the credit that he kind of, got in these last 2 Cricket World Cups, and now, he's proven himself. Obviously, he's quite known for that slow ball of his, but just out and out developing such a good bowler as Lungi.
Yeah, I mean, I think genuinely probably one of our best, if not our best, white ball bowlers at the moment. In terms of the last sort of 12 months, and that one's cut back a lot. And Kusal Mendes will just wear one on the glove. I don't think he's particularly happy as Kusal Mendes.
Yeah, this pitch seems to be doing a bit of everything. It seems to be highly likely to have been last night's pitch. Well, that's got to be painful as well. And Steve, tell me about the ruling. So attempted run out, it hits the bat. You can't run there.
If it hits the stumps. So if you go for a direct run out,
and if it's hit yourself, it's up to your discretion then.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the standard. Are you going to take a run if the ball gets fixed with you type thing? It comes to come down to your gentlemanly ways. But yeah, if it hits the stumps,
and if it hits the stumps and goes for 4,
as soon as it hits the stumps on a direct throw, it's a dead ball. Yeah, can't go for anything like that. So that is. But Kusal Mendes is getting a bit of treatment. Yeah, he hit him straight on the gloves directly, sort of trapping his fingers between bat and ball. So that's never particularly fun. Having a look at you, it's his right. Oh, it's his left hand onto his right hand. Yeah, I mean he's just worn that direct in the gloves. That can't be fun.
No, not at probably around 140 k's an hour. Lungi Sunny bowling in, hitting the deck hard. No, not good at all. Interesting. This pitch really does look like it's got something in it. I wonder if that means they're going to try and maybe come down the track a little bit and smother the ball, get to the pitch of it a little more, let it do a little bit less. Lungi's obviously got very good shape. Might bring that slip into play.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's one person that's been sitting in the Pretoria dugout looking at this and thinking that licking his lips and that'll be under care. I mean, if we're seeing it misbehave and jump around with Lungi Ngidi, you add an extra 15 kilometers per hour onto that, and that becomes quite a dangerous prospect. And yeah, you can see Kusal Mendes here. Looking at some of his highlights, it's been brilliant knock yesterday, 80 or 41. He plays spin obviously so well, being Sri Lankan from the subcontinent, but equally was up to the task against the quicks. I think also, something like Kusal Mendes and the Paarl Royals may be guilty of not really having that real sort of express pace, which can really make batsmen feel uncomfortable. They've got Lungi, he's not slow, and Evan Jones can get up to sort of the low 140s, but they're looking at some of the bowlers who've been really clocking it through. Gerald Coetzee and Lokia being the 2 fastest bowlers in the tournament and the 2 leading wicket takers. Now, I don't think there's that's a mistake. I think the fact that those players that just have that extra 5 to 8 kilometers per hour and they can really rush batsmen, especially on high fault decks and the Centurion and the Wanderers, makes quite a big difference.
100%. I mean, as you said, the high belt deck South Africa's known for its hard decks. A little bit different than the likes maybe the coastals of PE, Durban, Cape Town, maybe a little bit slower. But if you start cranking it up, people aren't used to facing 150 kilometers an hour, and it's hard to take an attack to someone who is bowling like that, especially when you feel you need to. So, no, massive impact players, those two.
Engaged to split delivery after an extended stay, and full start goes quite aggressively. It looks like it does take off a little bit as well, and you can see just indicating that it has bounced quite a lot. So this is a brilliant over so far from Lungi Gidi first out. It's gone just for just 2 runs in the opening 5 balls, and having a look over here at the first over, and it does seem to be quite a little bit of a different. See, one's gone away, one's straightened up over there. So getting the ball to talk.
Yeah, I think that's what's really earned his stripes. He, as I said, he gets a little bit off the deck, but that shape's always going to be there. Saw as you pitched it up how much it swung away. Let's see if he can close out a very good over here.
Goes pretty straight down the leg side. It'll be a wide. It's frustrating. He desperately appeals to try and get away with one there, but he hasn't. So he'll have to bowl that again, and a bit frustrating. If he finishes the dot, it'll still be a very good over, but always annoying when you go and bowl 5 really good deliveries. The batsmen aren't particularly comfortable, and then you do give away a bit of a freebie.
Yeah, that's a footballer's equivalent of pretending it's touched the defender's toe and you're getting a corner.
Yeah, correct.
Everyone knows it always off you.
Yeah, having a look at the sky, trying to work out if that's a miserable sky or not so miserable. It doesn't look too bad in and around there. Alright, here comes Lungi. That's a much better length. It's a bit of movement as well. And yeah, I'm happy to have a flash there with full stop, but to be honest, I don't think the batsman knew too much of that first over.
No, not at all. They haven't really got close to never mind on the bat, but out the middle, not at all.
But you should see sort of goes with him over here. We see Bjorn Verteen a lot inside the power play, mostly when he was at Royal Park and he had that conditions really suited him. But yeah, I mean, if you are Dave Miller, who are you opening with Lungi Ngidi? Are you looking at Peter Quiet to come in front, or are you Bjorn Verteen, Evan Jones?
I think either going Jones or Bjorn Verteen. I mean, we saw the Joburg Super Kings versus SEC the other day. That the left arm Orphy just tearing through that SEC batting lineup within a matter of overs, and pretty much finished the game. It looked like a bit of a snake trap. I wonder if it's also maybe something similar. Just get it to do something and putting it in an area. I reckon Verteen to begin with is usually pretty tidy from an economy perspective, especially from the first over going as did, and then bringing Evan Jones after that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it will be Bjorn Verteen, who will start alongside Lungi Ngidi. Left arm going and first one skids through. And I think the biggest thing about Bjorn Verteen is he's not a big turn of the ball. He varies his pace quite a bit. He's happy to dart in. That first one there, 93 kilometers an hour, is going to Kusal Mendes. We did take on Bjorn Verteen yesterday. It'll be interesting to sort of see when we first see that an aggressive shot. But once again, good area, good length there from Bjorn Verteen. And the nice thing about him is he'll get through those overs quite quickly and try. I think that's what he tries to do, especially during the power play. Try and cramp them up a little bit so you'll bowl into them on the angle there. See if one can sort of straighten, but more importantly, try and get those overs quickly. Try and put them under pressure. Try and play a shot. Was going straight through, beating everything, including the keeper. And not sure how that's missed it, to be honest.
I think also with rushing the batsman, he knows that they don't like that. No batsman likes that, and all batsmen want to do in a power play is free their arms, especially to the right-hander. It's so difficult with him. Oh, how that's missed the stumps. Wow, that's a great ball.
Yeah, some sort of in 2 minds there. Once again, going that length, but this one's a little bit pitched on the leg side, and Kusal Mendes will just pull it away at time too deep. Square leg will get through for the single. So 4 off the first 10 deliveries in the first semi-final of the SA20. And so far, the bowling is not a good start there from Paarl Royals. The pitch does seem to be talking a bit, which is quite exciting. Hopefully, it'll continue to sort of go and create something a bit for the bowlers throughout the game.
For sure. I think so. Out of these 2 bowlers, who are you attacking now as a batsman, Stevie?
Well, I think personally, I'll probably be going after Bjorn Fontaine. I wouldn't expect him to get a massive amount of turn. New ball as well, but it's dangerous. You will definitely have it back of your mind that this has been one of the top wicket takers in the tournament, and he has been so good in the power play. But yeah, I think after that first over from Lungigiri, as he cramps up Phil Salt, there he gets through the inner circle. That should be the first boundary of the game. That's really well played from Phil Salt. You can see that 96 kilometers an hour, a bit faster there from Bjorn Fontaine. He looks to try and cramp him out, and Phil Salt doing really well with almost no space to just find the boundary to bring the over to a close. 8 for 9 after 2. And I think that's a good shot. A pretty safe shot and well negotiated.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of those, you try to cramp him up. I think he's done very well with that angle to find a gap as well. I think those are the guys that end up being, really successful in this format when they can find those fours in the beginning of the innings when it's a good ball, because it just relieves them of so much of having to try and chase one of those ones where it actually is a good ball and you're trying to hit it over the top or something like that. You see Josh Butler hitting fours off a length. These are the type of guys that can do well, and Full Salt's navigated that pretty decently.
Right, so Lungigiri will return for a second. He'll be going to Kusal Mendes, who's 2 of 7 so far. Lungigiri was moving the ball a lot in the first over. He got 2 slips in as well. There's a bit of movement as well, but it's been slapped away from Kusal Mendes. A lot of width there from Lungigiri, not his best delivery. Did see it moving away a little bit, but Kusal Mendes was onto it very quickly, and he's hammered that through the covers. And that could be a bit of a release for Kusal Mendes, eh?
Yeah, how about that footwork from Kusal Mendes? Herschel Gibbs-esque, just, stand and wait.
Yeah. Literally just throwing his hands through it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very risky player, which means he brings some interesting angles into play. Kusal Mendes, I mean, I watched him single-handedly take apart in my Cape Town at Newlands, which was not fun to watch. So let's see if he can do that again here.
Right, now happy to run it down to third man. Which is good cricket there from Kusal Mendes. Getting a boundary at the first ball of the over now. A single as well. 5 with the over already in the first 2. Puts a bit of pressure back onto Lungi. And also, more importantly for him, gets off strike. Says, right, that's the 5 I've contributed. I can go to the other end. Full Salt can now have a bit of attack. Looks a decent crowd. Looks like it's filling up nicely.
Yeah, interesting to see how, let's say, a final in theory versus SEC versus Paarl. I wonder what the crowd cutters are looking like there. Obviously, neither of their home locations or stadiums, for that matter. I think that'll be super interesting to see who really the home favorite will be.
Yeah, I think the one thing we know, and I can tell you is from going to the Wonders, is that the atmosphere has been fantastic, and I think that regardless of who's in the final, we're going to see Wonders. I think the fullest it's been probably since the pink day before COVID rolled in. I think that on Saturday, I can't wait to get to the stadium. I think it's been sold out for a while now, and all 4 sides. I think the best 4 sides are the ones in the semi-final. So I think we should have a good final matchup regardless. I think that we are going to see tens of thousands of people there, and Wonders should be absolutely rocky. Come down the pitch there, gets a bit lucky. Well, they say if you go hard, and Full Salt's done just that. Come down the pitch, taking a massive outside edge, just sailed over the slips for 4, and although I don't think Full Salt will mind that too much.
No, not at all. I think, as you said, if you want to go hard. Look, he's actually bowled. It looks like he bowled a slow ball there, taking a lot off it. So it says why Full Salt's so far through the shot before. It's a good thing he's got it thrown enough of the hands at it to go over the slip, because if that was a fast ball, that would have been a 1 bounce 4, maybe even a 6. But no, got to take it to Lungi, throw him off his stride a little bit. Also relieve the pressure from Kusal Mendes' first 4. So this is going to be a good over now for the Capitals.
Yeah, now goes on the track once again, this time missing out. I think it was another slow ball. I'll be interested to see what the speedo has to say. That 137, no, pretty stock delivery. But this over so far gone for 9 off the first 5. So 1 ball remaining. Lungigiri currently going at 6 and over if you were to roll a dot here. But I think a boundary here would... Yeah, I think it'll be a nice momentum. I think a 21 for 9 after 3, you'll be feeling like you're sort of growing. But I think a good power play score, you've got to be looking at 50 plus after your first 6.
100%. I think if you're getting 50 plus and not more than 2 down, it's generally a good one. You got your set batsmen in, or you got some of your best batsmen in at least that stage, and they've got a platform to build off.
Yeah, Full Salt's got pretty straight there. We'll get through with a single.
Yeah, good finish. I think it'll be. They clearly took it a little bit more to Ngidi, maybe just using the first both bowlers' first overs to suss out a little bit what was happening. I mean, you didn't see much of that bounce that we saw in the first over from Giddy either, because they didn't allow him to kind of settle enough to just bowl his stride. It'll be interesting what they do with Bjorn Fortuin come down the track as they feel a little bit more now that they've sussed him out.
Yeah, 100%. So good to see Francois Pienaar in attendance, 99.5 World Cup winning captain, so part of the VIPs over there at Wanderers, which does seem to be filling up quite nicely. Those grandstands, the other grandstands, which is where the party's at. Does seem to be sort of filling up as well. The stands getting full and full. I think, yeah, obviously traffic wouldn't have been great getting to the stadium with the rain. A lot of people may be a little bit pessimistic about whether they were going to get any action, but it looks like the weather has cleared up a little bit, and if the rain can stay at bay, we can hopefully still get a full 20 overs into it. But right, Bjorn Fortuin into a second. 18 for none after 3. Run rate 6 and over. Bjorn Fortuin goes to Phil Salt. Phil Salt hammers it along the ground. There is a long on there, so he'll just get across for the single. And a bit of
Just knocking it down there.
Yeah, it's a bit of putting. When we go to some of the longer cameras, there's obviously some water dripping off the stadium, so it almost looked like there was a bit of rain there, but I think it is still quite dry.
Yeah, I mean, no cricket fan loves rain, so let's hope it does. Well, from Forte, slowing it down a little bit. I think if he slows it down, he's going to be able to get that to it. We saw the fast runners in the last over go for 4, so I think slowing it down, making them come fetch at the ball, good play for him.
Yeah, that one's 85 kilometers an hour. And that one was given it a bit of flight. It's gone over the top. It should be taken. It was taken. It's Paarl Sterling. And Kusal Mendes, the danger man, departs for 7. Bjorn Fortuin once again in the power play doing the business. And I think as we were just sort of saying, you were saying then, just sort of slow it down. I'll be interested to see what the speed of that was. But definitely looks like the first few balls looked to have tossed it up a bit.
I think Bjorn Fortuin's a subscriber to Forever Sports, Stevie, because he's just heard what I've had to say and be like, hello, how have I not thought of that until now?
Yeah, I mean, easy as catch as you like. But yeah, I think it's all he's done. I mean, it's nothing particularly special. It hasn't moved. It hasn't done anything. He's just floated it up on the middle stump. And Kusal Mendes trying to go hard at it. It's just so far quickly through a shot that it's just spiraled straight at the top and caught in the covers. And the perfect start now for Paarl Royals, because Kusal Mendes, as they know, after he took them apart yesterday, can be pretty destructive.
For sure. I think getting the man in form out is always just a psychological lift as much as it is obviously a good wicket to take. You can always sense the worry when certain batsmen come into the crease, and it's often those form players. I guess the worry for for Paarl is that a lot of these batsmen have been in form, so there's never really can't really let your guard down for many of them. So it's just to see how they navigate each of these different batsmen. But another right-hander in Tinus de Bruin. What do you make of this season so far, Stevie?
I think he's had potential. I think you've been annoyed that he hasn't kicked on a bit more. I think he's had quite a few starts, and I think he can be quite a good white ball player. Captaining the side now as well, so a little bit of added responsibility to him. Look, I think he needs to be. Oh, he almost tripped that straight up in the first ball, so it was almost a horror start for him. I think he can afford to be a bit aggressive here. I think at the end of the day, he's got to sort of lead from the front. I think he needs to back his lineup here and understand that there are some pretty big batsmen to come in. So he doesn't want to be that person that sort of eats up too many deliveries. I think I'd like to see him be quite positive from the start. But this is turning out to be very good order from Bjorn Fortuin. It's gone for just the 1 run and a wicket. That went 99 kilometers an hour. So he hasn't tossed it up at all to Tinus de Bruin. He's very much darted the first couple of in. So it'll be interesting to see whether he does try and take pace off for the last delivery.
It looks like he's got against the spin there for that one. Oh, it's also slowed up so much in the wicket. Yeah, just go through for 1. Great over that from Fortuin. What a start. Do they keep him or are they going to give him a third?
I'd be very tempted to give him a third. But so after the first 4 overs, Toy Capitals are 20 for 1. Not the best start from them at all. Dan, I'm going to let you go for a bit. And we'll bring you in after 8 overs. So we'll see you a bit now. And for everybody else, we'll be back in just a bit. Be myself, and we'll bring in Ross McClatchy, who is waiting in the wings to come in.
Enjoy it.
Well, welcome back, everybody, and I'm joined by Roscoe, who is managed to stumble his way into a bit of a broadcast setup over there. It's been put down! Well, De Bruyne's gone hard at the first ball there. Adina Pet requires over into the 5th over, and an early chance gone begging there. Roscoe, what have you made of the start for the Victoria Capitals so far?
I think it's been a bit slow, but also understandable with the weather, with the pitch being a little bit softer and not getting the sunlight that it's had in the past games. So I think it is probably a bit softer, making it the ball come onto the bat a little bit slower. But to only be one down with the ball turning as much as 14 to get it to turn, it's not terrible, but I do think they need to pick it up now.
Yeah, fair enough. And the repeat require, who I think will very much get the best out of a Wanderers pitch, which might not be coming on as easily. We did see Bjorn Vertain varying his pace a bit and doing the business there against Kusal Mendes. And the repeat require going into a second ball. And a bit of movement there. We've seen quite a lot of movement from both him and Dungigiri. I think Phil Salt's getting quite frustrated that there has been quite a lot of away movement. But now you can just see the first delivery there. Tears De Bruyne, no foot movement whatsoever. Just sort of throwing his hands out there. And that would have been probably the catch of the tournament had Dane Villas managed to hold him to that.
That was just like Jimmy Neesham-esque, that.
Yeah, just launching himself to the right-hand side at full strength. It would have been absolutely unbelievable. And right on full salt.
Yeah, good shot.
Found a boundary there.
The gap. And I think, like with Pretoria Capitals, I do think they need to go a bit now to make it the most of the power play. But I think they've got to be measured in their approach. Like you saw Tennis De Bruyne there, the ball before, stretching and reaching for it with no foot movement. And I think they need to be careful of that because it's not going to help them if they lose 1 or 2 more wickets in the power play. So I think they do need to go for it, but be measured in their approach.
Yeah, 100%. So it's I think Phil Salt's looking to be quite aggressive for a while, though, to be fair. I think he's very much ready to go. I think he's quite aware that he's eating up a bit of delivery shares. With 15 or 12, not bad, but they need to go off someone, and Brett Lecquire could find himself the unlucky beneficiary there, but it's a good return from him. Banging on a length, 126, taking all the pace off the ball. And, I mean, it'll be interesting. We have talked about the fact earlier on, I was talking with Dan, that how, Express Pace has done the business throughout the tournament, but as you're now sort of saying, with a bit of rain in the air, maybe sort of taking pace off wouldn't be the worst thing in this pitch.
Yeah, I think taking pace off here, the bowlers will definitely have the upper hand over the batsman because it will stick a little bit, and the batsman's timing is going to have to be impeccable. Otherwise, you're going to see the ball in the air a lot and a lot of catching opportunities.
Yeah, Phil Salt just happy to take a single there. So it's gone for 6 with the over, not the worst over, but after this, I mean, only just 7 balls remaining in the power play. It's still 26. You talk about Wanderers power plays wanting to be around 50. So from here, what would be a good power play for the Victoria Capitals?
I reckon 40 plus. They can be quite happy with that.
40 plus, and I suppose the main thing is to keep wicket in hand.
Yeah, if they can get to 40 plus without losing another wicket, they can look at it as a decent power play. Yeah,
a bit of a drop and run there. Would have been interesting. Josh Butler getting to that ball quite quickly. Tennis De Bruyne bringing Phil Salt back on strike. We'll take the strike for the next over. 27 for 1 after 5. It'll be interesting to see now if Bjorn Vertain will be brought back for his 3rd, or if they will look to bring in maybe an Evan Jones.
He got taken to pieces last night, Evan Jones.
Yeah, he's been pretty expensive throughout the tournament, to be fair. I mean, I think you looked at his economy. I think his economy for the tournament's about 9. But has been sort of that he's found that sort of innate ability to pick up sticks, and that's been quite important for them. I think he is sitting within the top 5 wicket takers in the season, but it has been quite expensive. And he's going to Phil Salt, who at the moment is not looking amazingly comfortable, but has looked good throughout the tournament. So, but it will be Bjorn Vertain. So the rewarding, I mean, 1 for 7 and 2, an economy of 3.5. Yeah, I think you'd be quite irresponsible not to have given him that 3rd and 11 prime close of the power play.
Agreed. And it looked in his last over, it looked like, as Dan said before, when he slows it down, he does get that turn.
Right, so just looking at those variations of Bjorn Vertain. And nice, yeah. So I think he has various pace quite nicely. He's looked to bowl sort of a couple of ones that slowed one down, and that one's been hammered by Phil Salt. There's a man
Should
out
be
in
a
the deep
field
though.
out
So
there,
this
yeah.
is really good work from Bjorn for 10. I mean, it's 1 for 10 so far. He's 3 balls left in the power play. Sorry, 4 balls left in the power play rather. Yeah, and I suppose now, you're almost at the showing sort of period where you almost now lost the power play already. You don't want to sort of just go too aggressive. Well, instead he's chipped it up once again. It's gone down. And Paul Sterling has let that one go past. And now somebody's going to have to reel it in. I think it is Dave Miller who's got the pace to do it. They should have gotten 2 there.
And now I want to see that because I think that's probably another slower ball because that's brought about a lot of turn from there. The speed of pop up. No.
Yeah, Paul Sterling, not the fastest man on the planet, struggling to get there a little bit. And Fiorentine goes to his 4th delivery. Oh, jeepers. Well, he's just beaten the outside edge. Not much intent there from De Bruyne, looking to try and keep it out, and 89 kilometers an hour, and it's just skidded past the outside edge. So, yeah, I think Pretoria Caps at the moment not looking to be too aggressive yet. I think just get through the power play and then sort of reassess.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great delivery.
And now he's gone over the top.
That should be out.
Fielder is out there.
No, it's out.
Bit of a half-heart shot there from Tess De Bruyne, literally just sort of like plonking it out onto sort of middle foot B.
Yeah, De Bruyne hasn't looked all that comfortable so far at the crease.
No, not too much attempt, not too many sort of positive shots there. And Phil Salt will block out the last ball. I mean, that's brilliant stuff from Bjorn Vertain. He's bowled 1 for 12 in the 3. The end of the power play, 98 kilometers an hour, that final ball, 32 for 1. Pretoria Capitals, a slow start, but I suppose importantly, they do have a wicket, only 1 wicket down. So 9 wickets in hand, they will be able to sort of really accelerate. And especially if you look at sort of the players to come, in terms of strike rates, variety. So we saw Colin Ingram yesterday really sort of up the ante. Jimmy Neesham as well, who can contribute. But I suppose I don't think it's the deepest batting lineup. I think it is a lineup that has continued to rely on 1 or 2 players going big. But I think that what's been so impressive about the Pretoria Capitals is how many different players have stepped up when they've needed it to sort of go quite big.
Yeah.
And now Tabay Shamsi, well, there we go. So in terms of, and I think this will be an interesting moment because Tabay Shamsi not had the best SA20. The economy's been 7.5. He's taken just the 6 wickets in 9 matches, an average of 30.3. His best 2 for 27. He struggled this tournament, and I think, again, we always talk about how you want to try and get your leggy off their game quite early. You probably think they'll look to attack him.
I agree, and we know that Shamsi's he bowls on confidence. So if you knock his confidence out, if you can clear the boundary on him within his first 3 deliveries, his spells after that normally aren't great. So I think we'll look to go after him early here.
That's just working onto the leg stump. They're running quite hard, looking to do it, but they don't get it. Not a bad start here for De Bruyne, but yeah, I think he's a bit of a disappointment in the tournament, eh?
I agree, because when people speak about Shamsi, 9 times out of 10, you hear them speak about when he was number 1 in the world. And even though he doesn't hold that position still, you still hold him there in your head. And so to see him come into this tournament and you see the likes of how well Bjorn Vertain has done, especially down in Paarl, how much he got the ball to turn and what a key wicket taker he was. And then you look at Shamsi and he's done nothing similar.
Yeah, I think it has been quite frustrating, and we all know what he can do, especially when he's bowling with a lot of confidence. I think maybe that's sort of the thing, he needs the confidence, and he's appealing there, but it will be a wide there, bit of turn there on offer, but not the best line from him at the moment. So not been on his mark just yet as Shamsi. Needs to try and sort of find that line of length quite quickly. And as I said, if I was Tins De Bruyne and full start, I'll be very aware of the fact that he's not playing with a lot of confidence. And I'll be looking to try and get him off his length, throw him off his line as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, use your feet, come down the track to him a little bit, move around in your crease, and just create shots. And as you said, just put him off his line length.
Yeah, we haven't seen any aggression just so far. It's been 4 runs with the first 3 balls, including a wide there. But
do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Pretoria Capitals are looking at this in a different light, with the pitch being a little bit slower and not coming on as well as it normally does? Do you think they're going to try and measure their approach to a certain point in the game and not lose wickets and then go in the last, say, 8 overs? Or do you think that it's just really tough to bat on at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because I think, initially in the first couple of overs, you saw Phil Salt trying to be aggressive and missing out, and he was, through the shots, and he was sort of just missing a couple, trying to go big. We haven't seen too much aggression so far, and there it is, he's gone.
He's
Well,
out.
here's the brain. Well, he rocked back,
Oh.
and Shams is dialing in the shoe.
He's gonna have a wet sock now.
Yeah, very wet sock. That's moments that preceded bad decisions. Well, here's the brain. Rocks back, and he's trying to put you through the covers there. And it's just straight on there. Grabs the nick on the outside. It's a pretty easy catch in the end from Josh Butler, who's in a good position. And Phil Salt, I think, will be feeling a bit of pressure because Pretoria Capitals have been quite cautious in their approach so far. They've now lost second wicket. They're 37 for 2 after 6.5. Chance to Brain, the captain, goes for 9 of 12, a strike rate of 75.
And you see, I think this is where the problem starts, because if their game plan is hold on to your wickets, work the runs away with ones and twos and get to, let's say, 10 overs and then go, that's all good and well. But if you're losing wickets while playing precautiously, you're going to play yourself into a dodgy situation and you're going to have a very low total to defend.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how Riley Rousseau goes. He can rush the crease. He's not a man that knows how to really, send it around. He likes to be aggressive first up. Can sometimes be his undoing, really.
Yeah.
But interesting to see what he goes for here. And I think that he's had a really poor SA20. He's had a best of 40 and he scored 120 well, he's basically scored 87 runs in the other 10 matches he's played. His average is 11. He's been, without being harsh, he's probably been the letdown of the tournament.
Yeah.
But they talk about the best players being able to do the best moments. This is a big moment.
And it's another thing, touching on like how poor Riley Rousseau has been this tournament, in the same likes as Shamsi. You know what they can do. They've shown everybody what they're capable of doing. And Riley Rousseau was brought into the Capitals. Not a bad shot first up.
First up, starts going out the reverse sweep.
And they've been brought into their respective teams for what they've shown people what they do. And he just, as you said, he's been probably the letdown of the tournament so far.
Yeah, there's also the replay there. Turns to Brain. It was looking to go quite hard there, but I think Riley was so big moment now. He's we talked about the fact that he is. I think at one stage he's been paid like 130,000, 140,000 rand a run because he had scored so few runs. So
it must be quite nice. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, I reckon I could probably get my way there. But
I only have about 400,000 rand, but.
That's
fine.
That's
the
fine.
point.
I reckon I could sneak my way through 4 runs. Bjorn Potato's going to finish here, which is interesting. He's going to go 4 in the trot, so very much keeping the spin here. But Riley was so again at the end of the day, if he comes off in the semi-final and final, I think that it'll be good investment. You need those players who can stand up at the big moments. But he is a player that's down with confidence. And speaking of confidence, Bjorn Potato will have a lot of confidence. He does go to the left hand of Riley Rousseau. Who's happy to just play it down. Yeah, as I said, once again, I think looking to try and rotate the strike a lot at the moment. Not looking to go too big from either Phil Salt or Testerberry, now Riley Rousseau as well. Brought out that reverse in the first delivery, but happy to sort of move it around for now.
From here, Steve, what do you think they would be happy with?
I think anything below 160, 70 is going to be problems. I think you got to try and get yourself up to that sort of margin. Phil Salt, as he found the gap, he's picked up the figure. A little bit of a fumble there coming from Andile Petlequire. Wants to come back from the second, but won't get it. Yeah, look, 8 overs after this, they're probably sitting on maybe sort of 45, 46 odd. Yeah, you're probably then looking at a 12 over score of 18. Trying to you got to up the ante, maybe get to 70. I think anything under 160 is going to be a problem. So he's gone big and he's gone over
and all the way.
No one on the catch, but that was pretty well picked up from Riley Rousseau. Give him a lot of confidence.
Yep, they needed that, and they need 1 or 2 more of these, and then maybe Riley's their release man, and he's been told go.
Yeah, well, I think as we said, he doesn't really know how to play slowly. He's not that type of player. He doesn't really have that in him. So I think that he will be quite aggressive.
And even if it's the case of like a Matthew Wade innings the other day where he can come in and knock 40 or 50 or 20 balls and then loses his wicket. That I think the Pretoria Capitals will be okay with, because he's done a job.
Yeah, and I think we'll take a bit of pressure from the other batsmen and just sort of say, I'll go hard, you guys keep batting, and let me see what I can do. I mean, the current projected score is 123 at 6 and over. They'll be looking at least 40 odd more than that. But already, he's Born for 10, for example, is firing the ball on wide, the ball for this. Just first, I think it's his first extra spell so far. 2 balls left in the over. And Riley was so just happy to go for Mark there. But this has been a very expensive over in comparison for Bjorn Fontaine, who before this had gone for just 18. No, less than that. I think he was gone for 12 in his 3.
Yeah.
And he's gone for 10 so far in this over. So Phil Salt will look to finish things out. But yeah, I do think Riley Rousseau will have a bit of license. I think he'll look to be aggressive and to try and take the game forward. Phil Salt, maybe the message there is he looks to pushing harder. I want to come back for the second. They should be able to come back for the second as well.
Yeah.
Much better over, 12 runs coming from it. But a decent spell for Bjorn Fontaine. Yeah, I think Phil Salt will be happy. Will be just being told, you stay in there. And he's done it before. He did that in one of the first things where he batted through and let the others be aggressive. But Roscoe, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to take a watering break, and we'll join you guys a bit later. Everybody, when you get back, it'll be none other than Roscoe and Dan. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Dan, you back?
I'm back.
Shamsy, that's
fun.
a shot.
Oh, must have turned.
Ooh. It's
My
either
word,
turned or
it
there's
looked
back
he was
there.
gone there. Maybe a little bit of bat. It looked very full, very straight. They must think it's missing off, or there's a noise. Keeper said no.
Miller's running in from the boundary to see what's what. No, getting sent back.
Let's look at this. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, turn.
I thought that was his other leg, to be fair.
I think that missed everything and then hit that back pad just outside the leg off stump there.
No. From that replay, it looked like a bit of a rude review from Butler.
Yeah.
That could be. That's got to be.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the pad we thought it hit on the first time.
And that unless there's a little bit of bat in there, that is stone dead.
No, that looks dead. I don't know. Phil Salt looks like he's walking here.
Salt.
I don't think there's anyone who loves a wicket in South Africa more than Shambo as well. Oh, has he gone upstairs?
Has he gone upstairs? Yeah.
You don't see,
he thinks he's hit it.
Walking backwards.
I was pretty sure he was out there. He looked like he was walking himself off.
Yeah. He looks convinced that he was shaking his head. They say look at a lot of the time you could just, if they say that was given not out, look at a lot of the mannerisms of the batsman. They'll tell you a whole story.
Yeah.
And that was given. That's
stone
like a horrible review unless he's got something.
No, that's a terrible review.
Oh, he's gone upstairs.
I don't think you get more dead than that. Yeah,
I don't know what he was.
No.
I don't know where he was expecting it to miss.
That's taking everything with it. Leg, off stump, middle stump, the works. Well, another breakthrough for Shamsi.
Yeah,
that's a big wicket.
We spoke about earlier. People stepping up in the the knockout stages. Maybe this is the time for Shambo of another great tournament. It'll be interesting to see him between, I guess, Riley as well hasn't been a great tournament so far. So we could see which one comes out on top.
Exactly. Steve, mute your mic. Yeah, that's a big wicket. And as you said, with Shamsi not having a great tournament and now getting that breakthrough, if he can get 2 or 3 for cheap tonight, it'll make a big difference in terms of his tournament and what everybody else says about him.
Yeah, 100%. I think the players in the back of their mind, they begin thinking about next season, what they could go for, and the longevity of their careers in certain franchises. You know, they want to be making a name and making sure they're either retaining their spots or, you know, going for a little bit more. At the end of the day, this is like something that can, you know, change the financial prospects of their careers in a big way if they can, you know, stay in it for a while. I think they'll definitely be in the back of a lot of these guys' minds. Obviously, first and foremost, the trophy itself, but you know, to finish the tournament well is critical.
No, 100%. And it's one of those things with this being so closely linked to the IPL. You put on a great performance now in this tournament, and you're definitely getting into the starting lineup of one of those IPL teams or your IPL team.
100%. 100%.
So yeah,
I think, I think it'll be interesting to see how these franchises go in terms of if they try to keep a loyalty between the franchise and the original team within the IPL. Obviously, it's maybe a little different. But Faf used to be obviously, you know, massive Chennai player. I think they've definitely gone on that link. But you know, will like, you know, potentially Heidelberg go for someone like Stubbs or Marco Janssen now. You know, I think it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, they've done nicely for them now. So are they going to keep them on and, as you said, show a little bit of loyalty, or is it now, okay, you had a really good you had a really good SA20. We've got you on our roster, but we're not necessarily going to play you.
For sure.
So
I think also, like, if you think of someone finishing well, Matthew Brietzke for, you know, Durban Super Giants didn't really get given an opportunity in the first half of the tournament. I think the Durban team got a whole lot wrong in that first half of the tournament. Or what, Quinny was coming in at 5 at some point. I don't know if he ever batted 5 from junior school.
Yeah.
So you know, for someone like him, he's almost certainly, you know, proven himself to keep on as long as he has a decent domestic season.
Yeah, agreed. Where do they go from here, though? Pretoria Capitals.
Yeah, interesting. I think this is going to be a massive partnership. I think the two lefties will be good. I don't know. I wasn't sure about that option of bringing Bjorn Fortuin against the lefty of Rousseau back in. I feel like that you know, kind of threw away his final over a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, it'll be interesting to see how Shamsi goes here with two left-handers.
That's gone up. Is there a man out there?
Oh, short. Did he pull out of that shot a little bit?
I think so. I think he got done a little bit by the turn or the speed there, because as we saw,
a little bit slower.
As we saw, he played that shot an over or so ago and cleared the boundary with no problem.
Yeah, not quite the length for it.
As you said, it almost looks like he's pulled out a bit halfway through it.
Yeah.
Lucky to get away with that one, I think.
Colin Ingram. Where is he playing the most of his cricket nowadays?
I'm actually not sure. Last night was the first time I heard his name in a while. Like when they were speaking about Colin Ingram, I was like, "Jeepers, that's a name I haven't heard in a while."
And it's he didn't bring back, for me at least, maybe I missed that, of glowing memories of T20 cricket either. But he had a great knock.
He had a very good knock and did a lot for them last night. But as you said, when I think of Colin Ingram, I don't think T20 superstar.
Yeah. Good ODI player, like always decent technique, a bit of a grinder.
But
with the crease. But good to see him in. Like, you know, always good to have, you know, he could be almost like one of those players that feels like almost like Roelof van der Merwe. You didn't realize that he was representing, you know, Scotland or something like that in the latest World Cup charge.
And the name's like lost on you a little bit, but then you see him like last night, and and it sort of brings back memories, and you're like, this guy really knows what he's doing.
Yes, yeah. No, I think also it's been cool to see how a lot of the players who've seen the South African pitches, you know, through and through, played a bit of club cricket, have been able to actually capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Because it is difficult at the end of the day. They aren't as simple decks.
No, definitely not. I mean, you look at Centurion last night, for example. I mean, the Paarl Royals their bowlers had nothing on that deck last night, and the batsmen were loving it. And it's the same. I mean, when Durban played Pretoria there the other night, it was the Pretoria bowlers that suffered, and Klaasen took them to pieces. So it is very different.
Yeah.
Paul Sterling into the attack.
I think there was an edge on that. yeah, we spoke about how many bowling options they had, and Paul Sterling. I wonder if he's going to have to bowl 4 here. I'm not sure how many other options they do have. They've got, I haven't actually bowled Evan Jones yet.
Evan Jones,
Oh, no,
yeah,
he's
they're
bowled
still
a no ball in the second ball. That's not how you want to start as a part timer.
no,
Riley
definitely
Rousseau is going to
not.
be licking his lips here.
And I think this is a big shot. He needs that release shot.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
always going to
that's
be the arm ball. It looks big. It looks high.
gone
Yeah,
all
that's
the
6.
way. Is there a catch? Nope,
No,
it's
it
gone
looks like
down.
a put down. What's the total? I think I saw the other day it was 222,000 per person.
Yeah, per person, 9 catches so far.
Have you been at any of the games, and have you seen one come close to you?
I've been to a couple of the games, but none of them have come close to me yet. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that the final's my day.
I always just imagine bit of a reverse
Reverse
sweep that looks like it's
got
come
it.
off the toe just for a single. I always just imagine the previous catchers watching every game go for 6 and just having their head in their hands as they
Yeah.
see someone take one. That's just, they've never seen money disappear so
It's
quickly.
so quickly. Yeah. But I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's worse to not have one come. Oh,
Worse.
that should have stuck. I don't know what's worse. One where it doesn't come near you, or one that you put down.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he's found the gap. This is becoming an
Great
expensive
shot.
over.
I mean, that's a proper cricketer shot there. That's a pure cover drive from Ingram, as you said, the Ingram that we kind of remember. Well weighted on the up. Cheers.
Spots the gap and just puts it away to the boundary. This could be a big over in the game in terms of
run out. No.
In terms of helping them release. I mean, 5 balls, 13 runs. And we've seen so far they're sticking with the spin because the spin seems to be very economical and doing it for them, taking the pace off the ball.
Yeah.
And they're struggling to get it away to the boundary. But this.
Replay. No, show's going over the top. No bad involved. Yeah, I think not. Yeah, definitely taking that pace off the ball. I think it's a bit more difficult when the pace off the ball, but if it's not turning for someone like Paul Sterling, it's a little bit different where you still retain getting a little bit of grip, which leaves that little element of doubt in your mind.
Yeah.
You can't chase it as much. You can't preempt. So
and the same with Shamsi. Shamsi also getting a little bit of turn, as you say, bringing a little bit of doubt. But Paul Sterling, if he's not getting it to turn, he's just a slow arm baller that's going to, and Riley Rousseau will eat that up, as we've seen.
I mean, 16 runs off the first over. It's not what the captain's asked for, especially if you asking him to bowl a couple more overs. I mean, as batsmen, they know who they need to target.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely going to be him.
Shamsi back into the attack.
Oh, he's turning that. 2 for 8. I mean, that's a great looking number so far as it goes for Shamsi.
Yeah, this is
as you said earlier, he's such a confidence bowler, and I think you need to be able to, especially on the T20 circuit, have your wits about you and just kind of okay, I haven't been bowling well. Let me see if I can just put something out here.
Yeah, and it's like the T20 circuit. I think if you're a confidence bowler, makes it even tougher, especially as a spinner, because you come into the attack and everybody's looking to hit you. You're the type of bowler that batsmen are targeting. And so you've got to try and find a mentality where if you do go for 2 back-to-back boundaries, you're able to still come back with a little bit of confidence, change things up and stick to your guns and what you know. I think you can't be letting yourself get down on yourself mid-spell and then get punished or go.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's looking really good. Yeah, he's managing to find the deck, which I think is actually the most important part, letting the ball do a bit of the work. Not without the drag down, I think if you're hitting your length, it seems like on this pitch you're in the money, because that you're having to wait for the ball looks like it's proving to be tough. But as soon as it's too full, too short, I'm kind of not really sure what to do with it.
Yeah, so that's, I think, what he's done very nicely today is he's found a line and length that worked, and he's consistently hit that. And by doing that, he's not giving the batsman a chance to go. I mean, here, 2 off this over, 2 balls left. If he gets through this with 2 dots, it's an unreal spell so far. Right.
Great shot on the fielder. unlucky there, I guess, from Ryder. So I wonder, how much are those reverse sweeps preempted shots?
Yeah.
Is it just the right length? How you find the gap? It's a lot of tech, like skill, if you're really looking for a gap with that.
No, 100%. I mean, if I was doing that, I'm top edging that into my chin.
I don't know if you saw the end of the game last night, but as soon as they got the 4 buys to win the game, who was it?
It was
Gordon Fortain goes for the
Fortain.
reverse sweep, try hook over short third man.
And it just goes straight through him.
Something he's definitely been practicing in the nets. It's like, I don't have a better opportunity to.
Yeah, exactly. We through to the semi-finals. I might not bat again this tournament. Let me just try it.
For the fame and glory. Maybe next auction you'll be considered an all-rounder or something.
So 72 for 3 after 11. Great over by Shamsi. Here comes Evan Jones.
What are Paarl happy with at this stage, you reckon?
So the rule is get to 12 and double. So you would think 80, 160. I reckon Paarl will be really happy if they can keep them below 140.
So they still have wickets in hand, hey?
Yeah.
So they've got Nation coming in. I think next. Then with Shami.
Yeah, they've definitely still got a couple of batters to go, and I mean Riley's still at the crease, which I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
having Riley stay at that crease, he can, because if he's still there with 5 overs to go, he can cause some damage.
Yeah, there's no way with him being there, there isn't an over that goes for 20 plus, and maybe even 2 overs. And it's interesting how when you can start going. You see players like almost Rassie van der Dussen put themselves into holes sometimes they can't get themselves out of. But there are certain players who you just trust it's going to come off with time at the crease.
Yeah, agreed. And I think Riley or so is one of them.
Yeah, if you're missing your mark with Riley, he's just he's one of those players. He doesn't look like he's doing too much or changing his game too much to make the ball in the wrong place. Just if it's anywhere in a bit of an area for him, he's just going to throw bat at it. He's just such a natural ball striker.
Yeah. And I think he's got a lot of scoring areas. So as you said, it doesn't need to be like way off the bowler's mark. If it's just slightly off, he can score just about anywhere around the ground.
100%.
Good start by Jones, yeah.
Evan Jones' first 2 balls going for 1 run. He had to, I almost said full salt, but Colin Ingram just knocking it about. I think Colin Ingram just, giving a bit of strike to Rousseau, who's clearly the
aggressor in the situation,
manager warrior at the crease. I think he'll be giving as much strike to him as possible and hitting the bad one away. It looks like it's not the easiest deck, so maybe getting yourselves in and prepping for a big finish isn't the worst option.
What a shot!
There we go. I mean, that's just like a classic ODI shot on the up.
Yeah.
That can be in any format of the game.
Yeah, that's a world-class cricket shot. That.
Yeah,
and it's as you said, maybe it is the right thing with Ingram tying down one end, letting Rousseau go a little bit, but at the same time getting himself in so that at the 14, 15 over mark, they've both seen what the pitch is doing, what the ball is doing, and then from there they can both release comfortably.
Ooh, that's popped.
Good ball.
But yeah, for sure. I think it'll be interesting. Not a bad over here from Evan Jones. I mean, 6 and over at this stage of the game is very good. We'll see how they close it out. But there's still a bit of life in that pitch. See what Andrik Nokia can do with it. It doesn't look like they've struggled really. No one's really missed the mark crazily on length. That's shocking.
Well, line that one missed.
Yeah, I'm glad I said length before the ball was ball. To save my reputation. But nothing's really slipped out the hand, which is something like Nokia would have to really worry about. Something above waist.
A little bit of moisture in the air, wetter, damper conditions. But as you said, they've all hit their lengths nicely, and the ball looks to have, as you said, the pitch does still have a little bit of life in it. There's some very good bounce, a little bit of variable bounce, but for the most part, it still looks like a good deck.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that brings the time to an end for now. I think that's the end of the 12th over. The Capitals are sitting 79 for 3. As you said, they'll double it. Let's see if they get to 160 plus.
Yep. And I'll join you in a bit.
Cool. Action attraction, Stevie. I reckon the Capitals are setting up a base here just to try and launch. They've got to a point. They've got lots of wickets in hand here. With 8 overs to go, I think they're going to be able to throw the woodwork at most of the balls that come at them. I think both these batsmen should be set at this point. They'll be expecting Riley to go big. I just think I'm thinking of Butler and Miller, two of arguably the best chasers in world cricket. You don't really want to be sending an under par score. You need to have those guys chasing again. Yeah, they just don't really get themselves out cheaply. So I think that's where the pressure is going to come in. And I think Riley, he seems ready here. Hopefully he can have a big knock for the Capitals, or the Capitals fans will be hoping for that at least. Yeah, I think as you said earlier, the pace requires the pace off is helping you. Not being able to just throw hands at something, and it's not exactly clearing the rope. I think we've seen maybe 1-6. You haven't really seen too much pace. Lungi in the beginning, and he was getting a bit out of the turf. So that pace off, really getting the batsman to try and find their areas, it's proven difficult. So good start here from Andile in this over. Interesting they actually haven't brought him back. Yeah, yeah, for sure. What, 7 overs? Well, I think you got to go for it. Like, I think he'll say start taking some risks. It's all well knocking it about. It's clearly that the ball's not coming onto the bat as easy as the batsman wanted to, or that you would expect it to on a Joburg track. But I think they're actually going to target Evan Jones. As you said, Paul Sterling is probably Devon won't want to bring him back, so they're going to have to bowl Evan Jones. I think 3 more overs if that is the case. So, and he is someone that the ball can kind of come onto the bat for. So, when the opportunity does arise, I think it's going to be massive. And then, I mean, who has Shamsi? I think has 1 more over, and then otherwise the spinners are done. So I think the ball should be coming onto the bat with all the overs left. Obviously, Lungi is a good slow ball as well, which he often brings out at the death. But I think now it's going to be a lot of seam, so I think it'll be very interesting. For sure. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. I'd say you got to bowl. I think you got to bowl out Shamsi as someone who, maybe this is disrespectful to the man, but he can go for a big over, and he's been bowling well. Finish him, get him through the gates. And I think they leave it up to essentially Petlakwa, Bosch, and I mean Evan Jones and Lungi to close it out. Mm. Mm. Yeah, yeah. I do feel these batsmen haven't even been able to use their feet and disrupt the bowlers enough, so I'd really like to see that from them. Whoa. Is that big enough? Doesn't. Oh, what a take! What were we saying? What Evan Jones? Yeah, that isn't a lot. Mm, yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, that's great for the man. I think clearly seems to have come at a good time with the SA20 coming to South Africa with his career, I guess, flourishing. So I mean, he'll be more than happy with that, and even more so that I guess he's backed it up the faith that that Paarl gave him. It's a very precarious position now. I mean, Jimmy Neesham, the season professional. I think he's not going to shy away from this at all. I think he's going to play his shots as he should, and I'm actually quite glad that at least Colin Ingram had a crack at that because you needed him to do it. I think they need to start using their feet, putting these guys off their length because the length ball just seems to be doing the trick at this moment, and I think Neesham might be able to want to maybe cause a little bit of a ruffle the feathers a little bit. Mm. Yeah, good take by 14 in the deep. Yeah, for sure. Um, no, I think it's an interesting Joburg pitch in general. It'll be interesting to find out also whether this is the finals pitch, and might that prove an advantage in the final for whichever team goes through. Which team? Who? As I mean, me as a SEC fan and you as a Josie fan, who are you wanting to go through here, Stevie? I mean, the obvious pick is Paarl, but I mean, it's looking like Paarl on top of everything at the moment. Mm, mm, mm. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now, Stevie, we've just seen a visual of Pommy, AB, and Pollock. So, how far do you reckon the three of us rank against those three? Accommodating threesome in the making there, hey? But have they played a Sunday game on a hard Salem pitch? That is a real question, Stevie. Um, that's gonna be that's brutal for Morgan. We get he's stopped playing international cricket and he's got the wide brim on. For sure. Oh, well stopped. Very well stopped. Yeah. It's one of those with batsmen. You can just tell when they haven't been seeing it, and stuff like this will happen. When you inform, that's 4 runs. And everything's coming up the middle. Not at all. Oh, it's rough. Yeah. I think we need to complement the field placing because they've got a lot out there in the middle, and it always seems whether it's out of the middle or not, it seems to be finding the fielder. So fair play to David Miller for getting his fields correct. You wouldn't have thought he's really got it wrong at all at any stage of this, including his bowling selection. So um, obviously got some international captaining experience, but not throughout his career known as a captain per se. So I think that's been really big. I mean, the boundaries have really been few and far between.
Yeah, and I suppose also credit to the bowlers then as well. You talk about bowling to your field.
Absolutely.
trying to be a bit. That's would have been
Well,
close. Would have been close. Would have been
he
close. I
was
think it would have
gone.
been gone. Actually, they ran through for the second. But that's brilliant
He
change
got
up there
very
from
solid.
Petlacquire because he, premeditated shot, and I think he's followed the batsman there and forced that. So that's really good bowling there from Petlacquire. But yeah, I think credit to both, I suppose. I think the field placings, would have been out as well. The field places have been good, but I think the bowlers have done really well at bowling to their fields and making sure they haven't been too many freebies and missing their nets, missing their line. So it's been a very all-round, I think, disciplined performance, I suppose, is the only way to describe it from the Paarl Royals so far.
Yeah, agreed. I think, and Petlacquire has been a really, really good additive to this Paarl side. He's had a good tournament since playing. I'm enjoying it, watching him.
It's got straight up.
Is this having a third
Yeah,
man?
Josh Butler
Oh,
takes
not
it.
even third man.
Look
There
what
we
it means
go.
to Adila Petlacquire. Well, you spoke about how he's had a good tournament. That's a great spell he's bowling here at the moment. And Jimmy Neesham, the problems now for Pretoria Capitals. They're 91 for 5 after 14.5. Jimmy Neesham's trying to go on
Big
after
problem.
it. Once again, the change of pace is done. It's got straight in the air. Looking back here, I wonder if a couple of words were being said out there. He doesn't look particularly happy. Still having a look back.
Yeah.
I think he's hoping there might be a no ball, something to save him. But you can see his head went down as soon as he hit that. He knew he had top edge. That Josh Butler completed the catch, and Riley Rousseau must be sitting at the other end thinking that if he doesn't go big, he doesn't come off, that Pretoria Capitals would very well be out of the competition.
Yeah, if they've needed a big signing to go big ever, it's now. Mutashami, he's very handy. He'll give you strike. Oh, it's Ethan Bosch who's coming.
Yeah, I back that call, to be honest. I like Mutashami.
Throw the hand up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think somebody who can strike at a reasonable high rate. I back Ethan Bosch in this position. I quite like this player from Pretoria Capitals. I think Mutashami is a nice player, but more of a. I don't think he's got the power hitting ability.
I was gonna say his role is actually just going to be to give the strike to Rousseau, but it looks like with 5 overs to go, if they can get both of them, clearing the rope, that's two's better than one, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. So Ethan Bosch will stride to the crease with a big job to do here, and I think Ethan Bosch is going to be very, very incredibly important with the ball. He's had a knack of striking early. He's 24 years old, so very much part of the youth and the next generation coming through. An exciting player. He's been so good with the ball, but they're going to need a bit of a hand with the bat. And I think that's what they're missing. They've missed out on a couple of cameos. We look at the scorecard, and it just doesn't... No one's really contributed much. I mean, we've got 22 from 21 from Paul Salt, 10 from 14 from Ingram, a 7 from 11, a 9 from 12. There's been no contributions. Oh, he almost goes out first. Oh. Paul Sterling diving to his left, can't quite get there. And literally, I mean, we've got, apart from Riley Rousseau, who's sitting with a 30 or 27, he's got the highest strike rate of 111, but there's been no cameos, have there? There's been no one that's come in and made a 10 ball 30 or, a 10 ball 20.
Paul Sterling throwing every bit of himself at that.
And there are plenty of bits to throw.
Your words, not mine, Stevie.
Right smile from him. What an over.
Very, very handy. You spoke about cameos, and I don't think it's spoken about enough in that you need to have players who are willing to throw away is maybe a strong word, but go at it without the risk of worrying about getting out. Someone who's allowed to just go at a 200 strike rate and try that, and the players that are capable of that. We spoke about Matthew Wade earlier. That. And that's how, I mean, if you look at the Capitals last night, getting to 200 plus easily, there wasn't like 120 score, 80, then 40s and 40s and 40s.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I do think that there needs, I mean, we talk about that fearless cricket. Wow, Ethan Bosch has picked that one up. I don't think he's going to go all the way, but it's in the gap.
That's in the gap.
Evan Jones pace on 142, and Ethan Bosch happy to just rock back and pull it out towards where a deep mid wicket would have been. Evan Jones bringing it quite short, and Ethan Bosch, it's a very nice shot. Just waits for, he's actually playing on almost the front foot there. Pulling it out to the deep there. So that's a nice start to the over as well. Put a bit of pressure back on the batsman. I think there have been enough players who've come out and looked to be aggressive and looked to say, you know what, I might go out here, but I need to move this game along. And once again, they're getting a single there, so he moves to 6 or 3. But that aggression, that willingness to fail, and because sometimes you get lucky, and if you top edge it and you find the boundary a couple of times, sometimes even those players who come in with a 12 or 3 or a 15 or 5, and they just put a bit of pressure on the bowlers and just try and move the game along a little bit. And no one's really tried to do that so far. And as a result, I think rightly so, who's been struggling, I think that the pressure just keeps building on his shoulders because he's not getting under boundaries and everybody on the other end certainly not. It's a good ball from Evan Jones.
Good ball.
No, wide.
Oh, wide.
Seems a bit harsh.
He did pull out of it, so it must have been higher than it looked.
Right, so 4-1 wide. So 6 off the first 2 deliveries here. Pressure a little bit on Evan Jones. Riley Rousseau, 30-27.
I think Riley Rousseau is going to go off here. He's either going to go off or he's going to go out.
Yeah, I mean, this is just set up for a Riley Rousseau cameo right towards the end. He goes into the... Tries to give him room and he wants to go to that leg side.
Did he take a little bit of pace off that? He did.
Yeah, 123.
Ball. Good play there. As I said, I think especially, people are so used to having pace on the ball. It's proven so difficult to get the ball away here when it's balled a little slower, especially someone like Petlakwayo. They haven't really got a... I mean, Jones does usually, but he seems to be one going for boundaries when he does ball quickly.
Wow, that's a terrible delivery. He's fired that down the leg side. He'll have to ball that again. So Evan Jones, unfortunately, I think this is I was speaking about how inexperienced he is. And I think we have seen the inexperience in his game this tournament. We've seen some really good moments from him, but I think the pressure moments he sometimes has bowled wide, sometimes bowled it short, and I think that's where he's going to grow a lot as a player. He's 26 years old, so he's not young, but he's still very new, but he's still pretty young. Not sitting in his 30s, not a veteran. And I think that I'm very interested to see the type of T20 player he can become because he's learned. I reckon he would have learned so much from this experience playing in such a high caliber tournament so early in his career from a playing perspective. That I think what we've seen with him, he's got all the tools. It's about execution at the right time, and that's where the best players can do it. And I think we're now seeing something like Adida Petlakwayo, international talent. It wasn't actually picked up by the league, but when the big moments come up, they've produced. Shamsi, when the big moments, he's come and produced.
Yeah, let's see if he can close out on it's not looking too bad, but and that is huge.
Monstrous. That's off the roof of wonders. Riley Rousseau has picked that up off his legs. He was waiting for it the entire over. He was trying to get himself into that position. He brings up the 344th 6 of the tournament. Riley Rousseau eventually found the boundary and a much needed, I think it's 13 off the over so far coming here, and he's just fired that in full.
I think that's such a mistake.
Yeah.
Where you don't want to go is full on this pitch. When it's slow, even you'd rather short than full. That's Riley Rousseau is hitting that for 6, 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? Pace on, it's going. Let's see what he does now. Yeah,
So
into the deck, much better.
And I think
It's hard to get it away when it's slow if it's hitting the deck. Obviously you don't want a bit of a tennis ball bounce, but full, you're taking everything that the pitch is giving you out of the equation.
Right, that over went for 14. And if they can do that for the next 4 overs, they can get up to 162. So I think that they know what the equation is. And Dan, we're not going to listen to you talk us through the last 4 because we are going to bring in Ross. So we'll let you bring us through the first 4 of the next innings. So enjoy a beer, and we'll see you in the next innings.
Enjoy it.
Right, and we're back. And Tabay Shandon's coming in for the 17th over, and almost started with the boundary. Great piece of fielding there from, I think it's Evan Jones out there on the boundary.
Yeah, it is Jones. Great piece of fielding. What a shot that was, but
yeah. So Roscoe, what do you make of the situation now? I think very much obviously we know that I think Pretoria Capital is probably in a bit of trouble here, and Tabay Shamsi bowling well here as well. But that's really shot from Riley Rousseau, maybe trying to get him going. But 162, probably quite a big ask at this stage.
I think it's a very big ask. The way that they've been going, the rate they've been scoring, even if Rousseau tees off now, I think it's a big ask.
Right, and Rousseau is getting outside. Well, he's getting outside the line. So he has to worry about that. But I think very much looking at that leg side. He's trying to give himself a lot of space, trying to look at that leg side boundary. And yeah, I think the Pretoria Capitals might be panicking a little bit. I think that, look, I think they'll back their bowling line to be able to defend most things, but they're well behind where they wanted to be. And again, it's interesting to see how we've seen the change of pace. The slow bowlers have bowled really well. That slow ball's been very effective, and very interested then on having said all that, see how Anna Torquay is going to go, who's the complete opposite, and really much pace on.
And it's interesting, Steve, like with you saying, so the slower bowlers have really worked tonight. The spinners, I mean, they've bowled a majority of the innings, and it's worked really well and been able to keep Pretoria Capitals to the score that they're currently on. And you've got to now think with the Royals being out there bowling and watching the guys bat, do they learn something and have a bit of an advantage? And as well as it works both ways. What a shot.
That's a great shot. Ethan Bosch come down the track and said, I'm bored of watching all this nonsense. Straight down the track, he's hammered Shamsi forward 4-4. Ethan Bosch playing with intention. I think, for me, if I'm the Paarl Royals, that's what I'm taking out of it. I'm looking and saying, right, you know what? Actually, there are some runs out here if you're willing to go down the track, if you're willing to be positive. And they've got Josh Butler, Jason Roy at the top, who are players who will do that. So, yeah, the Pretoria Capitals, I think, despite how good their bowling is, I think if they don't get to 162, I think they're in trouble, because I think that, Paarl Royals will come out and they'll be aggressive. And I think if they can make a power play, I think the game could almost be lost a little bit before it's quite early in the game.
And I agree with you, because as much as the Pretoria Capitals are learning now with all the slow balls working, the Paarl Royals, I think, are learning more. And as you said, if they can come out and be aggressive, they can see that there's runs to be made there, because you see Ethan Bosch moving his feet, coming down the track, making space for him to create shots. He's scoring runs. And as you said, Jason Roy and Morgan and Butler, they'll all do what needs to be done.
Shamsi, what a day for him. He struggled throughout this tournament, but the best players stand up at the best moments, and 2 for 19 and 4 is a fantastic contribution from him. That will bring the end to spin. We'll have 3 overs of pace here. We're going to see probably one. I think we can see 2 more from Lingagidi, actually. So I think we've got 2 from Ngidi. So I reckon we'll see now he'll bowl, I'm sure, 18 and 20, and Evan Jones
joins in between.
Yeah, so Ngidi comes on now, so it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure it'll be Evan Jones, and I don't think Petr Kwa's got. Petr Kwa's got another one, so it'll be interesting to see. But we've got to get 1 or 2 from Petr Kwa, Evan Jones. Interesting to go see what they'll go to, because Petr Kwa, he very much backs the death bowler, but I get frustrated with him at the death, because I think he's someone who sometimes tries too much, and sometimes
instead of sticking. Okay, I reckon we make a little friendly bet. So we saw the last 6 hit off pace bowling. It's been 344 sixes so far. Friendly bet for the first round of beers on Saturday. How many sixes at the end of the tournament?
At the end of the tournament?
Yes.
144. I think 370's got a nice ring to it.
You're going 370. That's a lot of sixes.
370 would be about
2.5 games.
That'll be about 26. I don't think that's that. It depends. You see, the problem is it depends on what the deck's playing. Okay, I'm gonna go 265 to be my final.
265.
Yeah. Wait, go! Ah, shit. Okay, so I'm going 265. What are you going?
265. It's 265. Steve, I win already. They're on 344.
Sorry, 365.
I'm gonna go 680.
Yeah, this is a struggle watching you try and do maths here.
I'm going on the basis of 6 and innings from here on out.
Okay.
So there's. I'm gonna go 374.
So you told me that 370 is a wild shot. You've gone 374.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think you'll probably be right, to be honest. But you know what I'm banking on? 2 washed out games, and then you're in trouble. Okay, 374, 365. Come on.
Come on, Riley, just hit 10 quickly.
Now I'm firmly a bowling supporter.
A good start to this over, as we were discussing our bet, back-to-back fours and then a dot.
Yeah, so as you
Oh,
can see, we're
there's
focusing on the
another one.
main
Is that
things.
in the gap? Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Three,
in the
400s
gap. 4
there.
runs.
Riley Rousseau's finally found a bit of a release. Yeah, that'll move him to his 50, I think.
Yeah,
It's been
51
it's
up.
not been fluent at times. It's been hard graft, but 51 of 38. He's starting to play a little bit of a hand at the moment. He's hit the giddy for 12 of the first 4 deliveries here. He's moved Troy Capitals to 127. He's struggled throughout the tournament, but 127 strike rate at the moment. In fact, that'll go up to about 135. So this is an important knock from an important player at an important time.
Yeah, and it's as you said, if he can score 50 odd tonight, 100 odd tonight, and they get through and come off again in the final, it sort of puts away the rest of his tournament. If he can get them over the line in these last 2 games, it'll
Yeah, I mean, I
put a
suppose
blur
you
on
talk
the-
about big name players. Are you paying the big bucks to have them score around throughout the tournament? Are you paying the big bucks to separate? I mean, Tobias Shamsi wasn't a cheap acquisition, but if that Spotty balls today gets them to the final, you sit there going, well, that's why we spent the money on him.
Yeah, and it tells you, yeah, exactly. If Riley or if Shamsi, depending on which way the games go, if they can have 2 good games, Riley putting on 2 big scores and Shamsi bowling 2 good spells, that's exactly, you're right with the rest of the season and say, listen, you were a big name player and you did what we got you to do.
Right, now you go straight over again once again, and it's Riley Rousseau, vintage Riley Rousseau. He moves to 55. That's the 4th 4 of the over. This is a big over.
It's expensive from Ngidi.
Also flying on a wide base, so 17 from the over. And I was speaking to Dan about how every innings, you've got to try and find that one over that goes for 20, 25. Really put the pressure on.
And this is it.
It's coming in here.
And you've got to think, because we were looking, as you said earlier, Ngidi's got another one after this.
Mm.
So if Riley Rousseau can do this exact same thing to him in the final over, they might get to that 160.
Yeah, really intelligent there from Lungi. That's really stupid.
They're gonna
That's
run it.
really poor. It was a fantastic follow-up. He come with a slow ball, and then he wants to have a shot at the wicket, and that's pure frustration. That actually allows them to get across the other side, and Riley Rousseau will keep the strike.
Yeah, that's silly. From a perfect slow ball Yorker to costing them a run and giving Riley Rousseau the strike back. That sums up that over, I think, for Ngidi. It was just a poor over.
Yeah, I went for 18 in the end, so that's really moved the game along. 132 for 5 with 2 overs remaining. 160 all of a sudden, looking far more on the cards. They'll need to get... what are we looking at? So we need another 27 runs in the next 2 overs. Looking about 12, 13, sort of 14 in the next 2, which is you're kind of backing yourself to get when you've got an informed batsman. Right, so 56 or 40 so far.
And an informed batsman with the power and ability that Riley Rousseau has. I think he can quite easily get them. Well, yeah. He should be able to get them there.
Yeah, just the 2 sixes there from Riley Rousseau. So there haven't been too many sixes this
Three
evening.
sixes.
3 sixes there. Haven't been too many sixes this evening. I don't think we'll see too many in the next innings either. Washed out game tomorrow. Washed out game on Friday. But Riley Rousseau, I did expect Acquire will bowl this over. And he's been really good so far. And he's fired
he goes again.
Straight down the throat.
Straight down the throat.
It's exactly what he would have wanted. Pace off. He's banged in, and they put that deep square, and they said to Riley Rousseau, have a go. Let's see if you can clear the man. He's taken the fielder on. He's lost the battle. Andy the Pet acquired. This has been an absolute clinic tonight.
Yeah, and you said he tries too hard, but and sometimes he does, but all credit to him there. He set his field and he's bowled exactly to that field, and he's got his reward. And now, all of a sudden, from that 160 being quite comfortable, with Riley gone, the onus is now on Ethan Bosch.
Yeah, and again, it's difficult to sort of assess that innings without knowing exactly how the pitch is, but Riley Rousseau, 136 strike rate, it's 56, it's difficult to be harsh. It's a contribution, but you think of someone. You think they need somebody to go big. And I think the biggest issue there's been a lack of
support.
Yeah, and cameos around him. Because if that's an anchor innings with people going around him, then that's happy days.
Yeah,
but the people around him have also struggled.
Yeah, like the perfect, and I touched on it earlier, and I'll go back to it. they needed a Matthew Wade innings in there by somebody, by an Ingram or by an Isham or somebody, just to come in, score 30 or 40 quickly. And as you said, just give a little cameo around Russo, and then the total's very different, I think.
Yeah, good. I mean, look, it's a plan there. He's taken the pace off there. He's bowled it into the slot where he would have liked it. That's why Riley was so annoying. 'Cause I think that's his bread and butter. And Mutasami's almost shipped it straight back to Andila Petlakar in that first one.
That would have been a wild grab. That
I think they will get that. They're going to stay for the singles. So now it all kind of rests on Ethan Bosch, who is striking it at 200.
Yeah.
And
can he pick up where Rousseau left off?
Yeah, Mutasami's threw the shot there really. Oh, jeepers!
That would have been a wild grab.
I'll tell you, a player with playing with his confidence, I would have almost backed him. No, you wouldn't have.
No, I definitely would have. Have you not seen me catch?
Well, you are close to the ground, I suppose. Right, Ethan Bosch. He's on 12 off 6. He's been aggressive. He's looked to move around the crease. He's got Andila Petlakar running in with a lot of confidence. Where he's going to go? Down the track. And
he's gone nowhere.
Yeah. Straight into the ground. Good ball there from Petlakar. Full.
If Petlakar can finish this off with 2 more dots, and even if he goes for another boundary, it is an unreal spell of cricket in this game. Three balls left in the over.
Oh, gee.
He's gone huge.
That looks
big.
And
is there a catch?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a messy one, if nothing else. A bit of disappointment there. Right, well, Ethan Bosch has been playing a bit of a hand here. It's disappeared once again. This time he's gone back in his crease. He's waited for it. He's hammered that out into deep mid wicket.
Cleaned that out, yeah.
And that's you don't get much dirty catch than that, unfortunately. And
yeah, that's 2 straight and perfectly in the slot.
Yeah, I think good for Ethan Bosch as well, because again, this time he goes back to his crease once again. Now he's pulled to the leg side. He's found the gap as well.
Ball.
Ethan Bosch is playing a brilliant knock here for the Pretoria Capitals. He
Come on,
22
Bosch.
of 9.
That was about a foot short of another 6.
Yeah, once again,
Great shot.
I think that the good thing, what's been good about him is that he has moved around the crease. He's forced bowlers to check their legs. He came down the first one. The last 2, he's actually shifted back into his crease and waited for the ball. And that's allowed him to really bring his arms around and access that leg side.
He's hit that twice almost.
It's weird, eh?
It's almost like he hit that twice, because that's hit the GM sticker and then...
Yeah.
Well, it does the job. That's another boundary.
That's gone straight up. Well, it was a good
That's
cameo,
gonna be
and it should be
taken.
coming to an end. Josh Butler underneath it does take it. Right, Ethan Bosch will leave, but that's a fantastic knock from him, to be fair.
Yeah. He's brought that 160 back into reach. I mean, another 16 off the last. It's going to take some doing, but it's not out of the picture yet. Just mistimed that one a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the frustrating thing, I think, from the Pretoria Capitals' perspective is that they didn't see more of that.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Because, I mean, Riley Rousseau and Bosch have just shown you what you can do there. If you move around a little bit, gives yourself a little bit of room and create space to hit the ball to the boundary.
Yeah, and I think the frustrating thing is, I think, they needed about 2 or 3 of those sort of Ethan Bosch innings, where they just sort of kind of throw caution to the wind a little bit, and they're happy to just go for it. And if it goes badly, it goes badly, but give yourself the best chance of contributing. So
scoring,
it's a nice little cameo. 144 for 7 after 19. We have seen scores of 160 being defended at the Wanderers this tournament, so it's by no means an impossibility. But Miguel Pretoria, Senu Mutasami, they'll do well here to get to 160.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon 155 they can be happy. Oh, what a ball! Yeah, I think I'll be surprised if they get more than 152 here, though.
Yeah, no, I think these two. I think Miguel Pretoria is probably the bigger hitter. Sunil Sami, and more of a sort of nuggety, nudges around. Can bat, and no, not saying he can bat, but I wouldn't say really sort of in the T20 world. I think his strike rate in the T20 is about 105 odd. So
more similar to yours.
Yeah, I'm a classy batsman.
A little bit higher than yours.
Yeah, and it's just cut him in half there, and they'll run through for the single. He'll be run out as well, trying to get there. Josh Butler, that's well done.
That's a wild throw, that.
Yeah, and I think the right decision from Victoria is to take the chance. At the end of the day, we're in the last over. You got wickets in hand. If he misses that, that's a bonus run. Sees the fumble, but Josh Butler just picks up and hammers it down. Miguel Pretoria is well short. Oh, when do we get Zing Bales?
Today, I guess.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Because they didn't have them last time.
Oh,
they must have been. I wonder if they've been saving them for the semis and the final.
What is this?
Yeah, maybe.
Is it a budget issue? They're like, listen, we can have them. We can only have them for 3 matches, chaps. So
petrol's expensive.
Unless they had them for the ODIs, and then they actually went and stole it. Someone's busy walking around the crate going, I'm sure we had Zing Bale somewhere. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Women's World Cup's about to kick off and they can't find their stumps.
Yeah. What is going on here? I don't know. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
Right, Adil Rashid. Now, he can actually hit a bit of a long ball here, so.
And I think he's gonna have a big part to play in the next innings, Adil Rashid. He's bowled well so far this tournament, and it seems the pitch has gone in the spinner's favour this evening.
Right, Adil Rashid. He goes wide there. Should be a wide. Outside that wide line. Yeah, and it is signalled.
Yeah.
Lungi not impressed, but Rashid was saying pretty orthodox.
And he did go after a little bit, but then left it. This is a wild throw.
I'll tell you what, I reckon Miguel Pretoria, if he sets off immediately, I reckon he might get there.
Yeah, he might get there with a little bit of a dive, maybe.
So, he runs the midfield, which is the number one rule you don't do. But I think at the end of the day, that should have been a premeditated thing. You basically should have said, I'm running through that regardless.
Yeah. And start running just after the ball's come out of Ngidi's hand.
And it's gone. This is a pearl of an over from Rooney Ngidi. They can't touch him. Run rate 7.4. I tell you what, if I'm to Paarl rules and I'm walking out of Pretoria deck, Johannesburg deck, chasing less than 7, 8 and over, I'll be very happy with life.
Happy, yeah. Yeah, especially maybe over this innings, the pitch has had a little bit of time to dry up.
Yeah, and just looking at that slow ball, it's just so effective. And you can just see how he's the cutter. Right, going to his 4th ball of the over, 145 for 8. Rashid gets a hold of it. I don't think he's got all of it, though. There should be a man in the deep. No, there's no one there. Oh, back to tip the boundary. That could be now. It's 4, Mr. Ump.
I'm calling 6.
Of course you're calling 6.
I'm calling 6.
You are unfortunately incorrect, though.
I think that's hit the triangles on the fly.
Right, let's see. Ooh. I'll tell you what. I wouldn't like to be the man making this call.
6 runs.
So this is at the base of the triangle. I want to imagine they'll give the benefit to the doubt to the batsman because it looks japers.
Yeah, that's 6. Yeah. Yeah, it hits the triangle first.
4 runs, agreed. Unlucky.
That's a harsh decision.
I think it is hitting with. I see the problem is I think it's hitting on the ground as well. So I think it's hitting the side of the rope. But I suppose sometimes the rules actually has to hit the top of the. Oh, they're running through. Mix up, and do they get through? No. Someone told me I think onto the single, and she said no, thanks, mate. What an over this is from Giddy, by the way. It's gone for just 5, and with 112, this is the definition of a proper slow ball. See into the pitch. As I was looking at the last one. Having another look at this. I think it's one of those that can really go either way.
Even Sean Pollock is saying that it's 6. Got it back, Polly.
All right, and Giddy, he goes once again.
This is not getting there.
No, it's going to go for 4 though. So they will end on a boundary, and Pretoria
5-5.
Capitals will stumble out, I think, almost towards the end to 153 for 8 in their 20. So, yeah, some kid is absolutely sending it over there. So good on you, mate. Right, so final score 153 for 8 is the first score posted in the first innings of the first semi final. And the Paarl Royals will have to bat well to get there in a pitch which we've seen is a bit slower, is a bit, does offer a bit of assistance. And
Do you think it's enough, Steve?
my gut says no. But at the end of the day, Pretoria Capitals got the bone to defend it. So, but I think I think there's too much batting power on that Paarl Royal side. If any of Joyce, Jason Ware, Dave Miller, or Josh Butler come off, then I think they're in trouble.
I agree.
Anyway,
I think it's gonna be a tough chase, but yeah, as you said, their batting depth is deep and their batsmen are deep.
yeah, Dave Miller just trying to gauge the boundaries there. It's always an ominous side. Well, not too much to speak of. 222s there, Phil Salt Ethan Bosch. Ethan Bosch is coming off 10. And then Orion Rousseau 56 for 41. The only real knocks to speak of. A deal with Sheet, bit of a cameo with 8 or 4 in the end. But yeah, we're back after the break. Please do rate your beverages. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And after the break, we will see if the Power Royals can chase us down and book their place in the inaugural SA20 final.
So there's a wicket. And we're back.
What a start. What a start by the Pretoria Capitals.
Was that a slow ball? I want to see the pace on that. Yes, Riley Rousseau is ecstatic. Jeez, couldn't ask for a better start from Bosch and the Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, we watched that first ball and we saw how much movement there was on it. And I think the same things happened with that second ball. I think it's also moved a lot more than Roy expected. And he almost tried to stop playing at it and got caught the toe of the bat and chipped it straight through. So,
Yeah, easy.
great start.
Yeah, easy to talk in retrospect, but we did say off air, if you're gonna go hard, and he did not go hard there.
No. Yeah, that was. I'm not sure what exactly he was trying to do there. If he's trying to pull out of the shot, or if he's just trying to drop it short. But that's it's not the start they wanted, and it's a great start for Pretoria defending such a low target.
It's not nice for Butler because you kind of, if I see Butler and Miller being there at the end, you see them winning the game.
Yeah.
But what he's done now, he's kind of made Butler have to chase the power play where he probably wouldn't have wanted to.
Yeah, I think Butler's walking into the crease a lot earlier than he would have liked to, as you said. He wants to come in at 7, 8 overs, 9 overs with a base to go from.
Even like 4 overs, when they've got 20 of 10, super fine with that. You've got a couple runs on the board, but you don't want someone like Butler who can chase down a score, not on his own, but he's so good at chasing. You don't really want him throwing care to the wind and within the power play. So I'm interesting what he does here. Do you reckon he goes for it? Like, try, I guess what do they need to go at? You need to go at 8.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to go now. I mean, and as you said, he would like to come in after the ball's a little bit older. I mean, it's still doing a hell of a lot, and he's going to do a hell of a lot for probably another over or so. But I think with the target only being 154, he doesn't have to go now. I think he can take an over or so, get himself in, see a couple of balls, and do exactly that. Just drop it around and rotate strike, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's good enough to find the loose ball and hit it away, which I think is so crucial on a pitch like this.
Yeah,
it looks like anything that's a decent ball. It's going to be so hard to push it. It's so hard to get it away. So being able to hit the bad ball is critical.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. You often, like, you play club cricket and whatever, guys are like, keep the good balls out, hit the crap. This is a good example of that. Good balls you can't clear out, but the bad balls you've got to get rid of. Is that a shot to avoid a wide?
Jeez.
Oh no, it's like wide.
Classic. It feels like we've been here for 3 overs at this point. We're only 4 balls in.
Yeah. We've had everything. We've had wickets, we've had wides, we've had shots.
Oh, no.
Just drifting down the leg, but there's nothing on that. Maybe a little bit of thigh pad.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's no bat there. I mean, considering he's bowled 2 wides, this is not a bad over from Ethan Bosch at all. I mean, finishes with a dodge and it's 3 for 1 in the first. It's the perfect start for Capitals.
Not at all. I think the wicket, even if this goes, 4-4, I don't think it's still not a bad over to the transfer of pressure straight. I think they would have been under a little bit of pressure, probably feeding us not quite the total. They put it right back on the Paarl team.
100%. What an over. Great opening over. 3 for 1, and that's exactly what the Pretoria Capitals needed. And as you said, the pressure definitely would have been on them coming out to defend. Not a great total, but this has definitely switched it up a little bit. Who do you see coming in from the other end now?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Nokia, surely.
I agree.
I mean, if we're talking about transfer of pressure, 2 wickets in 2 overs here, God forbid for the Paarl team that they get out,
and it's
Butler, then Never mind. Maybe they saw the bit of the turn from Goal 10.
From 14, yeah. It's either going to work really nicely or it's going to shift the pressure back straight onto the Pretoria Capitals. But if he bowls anything like 14, this will definitely keep the pressure on the Paarl Royals.
Yeah, just
A little bit of turn there.
I think that's it. Just find the deck, not too full, and straight.
Yeah, and you can be very restrictive. And I mean, I think that's all the Capitals have to try and do now is try and suffocate. Oh, it's in the airs there, man. There. No, it's in the gap. 4 runs.
Yeah, I don't know about bringing Watchalong versus Butler. Butler would have been so happy to see Watchalong there instead of Nokia.
I 100% agree with you. I think I would have at least given Nokia 1 over. Try and take Butler out early.
When is there more? I just think if you can get him in early, just Butler's just having his way with him now at this point.
And I mean, there's turn there for Watchalong, but he's not got his length right. So it's way too full.
Yeah.
That's tossed up there. Butler's given himself a bit of room and just told him to go and fetch.
Yeah. And I mean, the ball was there to even probably hit leg side, but that whole offside is just open for him. So he can get it and he's just going to move accordingly.
Yeah, this is, as I said, this is either going to work really well or it's going to pile the pressure straight back on the Capitals. And I mean, 10 and he's still got 3 balls to go.
Yeah. I just think even
there we go.
But I mean, they knocked it down for 1.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, he bowled 6 of those.
Yeah.
But those 2 that have gone to the boundaries missed his length completely and got punished for it. But sorry, you were saying about Butler?
No, I just think with Butler, even he would, you could say the best batter. You would want him at his earliest stage, you'd want to throw the best bowler potentially in the tournament, which has probably been Nokia, or it's a top edge. I don't think anyone's out there. It could be 4, it's just plugged, or just a single. I think this would have been a great battle to see. I think now you get Butler having his first couple shots away, he gets the sense of what the pitch is doing. Your best chance of getting him out is early, and he's arguably their best striker. So.
Yeah, you've given Butler a chance to settle, which I think is a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, already now there he is at 13 of 7 deliveries. He's had a chance to settle. As you said, he's had a chance to see what the pitch is doing. Whereas if you bring Nokia on and he bowls 3 balls at 154 k's an hour straight at Butler's body, you've got a very different – Butler's got a very different welcome to the crease.
Absolutely. I think also in the last previous innings, you saw a lot of dot balls. And you just saw, the good ball, that fourth ball that Watchalong ball is a good ball. Butler, without any worries, just knocks it down for 1. And that's, you can do that once you have an understanding of what the pitch is doing. I just don't think you want to hand that out. Watchalong is a good bowler. But maybe just trying to replicate in what they'd seen beforehand. They saw the spinners do well early doors. Why not? Why wouldn't it be the same for us? Let's see what Ethan Bosch can do here.
Oh, he's got him. There goes Butler. That is huge.
That looks like it's getting very low.
That is huge from Bosch.
I also think just that wicket early on in the over is massive because you just in the next couple of balls, your next batsman trying to get in.
Yeah,
it looks low. That
Yeah, that has stayed a bit low.
Probably not as low than I think Butler's played for, but definitely low enough. Clearly to beat the bat. That's a massive wicket though. You couldn't ask for a better start for Bosch.
Bosch is doing, if you take Watchalong's over out of this equation, you're looking at a very different game. But Bosch has done exactly what they needed him to. They needed him to be their strike bowler, and he's done exactly that.
Yeah. I think, I guess the Capitals won't really mind going for runs if they get 3 or 4 down. I mean, what does Dan Vios do here?
I think they've got enough overs left. I think they need to rotate the strike and get themselves in. I don't think they need to take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, get to 40, 50
And then,
at the end of the 6 overs.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna jump out for a second. I'll be back right now.
Yeah, Bosch coming in, stop ball on his own. Jesus, it's been a good start for him. Yeah, that's kept real low. Really, really low from Bosch, but put it in a good area, hit the deck. Didn't move at all. The deck, it just didn't get the bounce it deserved. Yeah, but I will not be happy with the outcome there, but that's cricket. Oh, it's a top edge. He's gone at it and it's 4 runs. I like that though. That's good from Bosch, I think. From Dan Vios. I think especially with Bosch putting pace on the ball, you're not going to get much out of it by tentatively trying to push for 1s and 2s. Especially with so few people outside of the ring and behind the square. I don't think there are any. So throw a bat at it, and at least if you're aiming for gaps, if you hit it, you're getting in the gap, and if you get a nick, it's gone for a boundary. Here he is for his 4th ball. Good forward defensive. Sussing off the crease, especially getting in that early boundary. I think you don't really you can earn yourself a shot to catch up and get a sense of what the pitch is doing. Obviously, they've been able to see it from their bowling innings, but good start from Vios.
Sorry about that.
No stress. You just missed top edge over slips and then 2 drops. Yeah.
Well, we said go hard.
Exactly what I was saying. There it goes. Will there be 1 or 2 there?
Back for 2, I think.
Morpia and easy 2.
Still an unbelievable start by Bosch, even with the 4.
Yeah, very, very good.
Interesting not to see Miller come in. Although,
well, who would typically be next?
Yeah.
It would be Colin Ingram next, anyways. I think.
No, he plays.
No,
for
sorry.
Capitals.
I've butchered that all day.
No, but also to be fair,
I'm in bowling. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you don't need to send Miller in now. I think you want to save him for if there is a situation where
I think they'll do that. They'll probably do that again. I mean, both of them can hold innings pretty decently.
Yeah. And I mean, I think from a Royals point of view, you would want to maybe save Miller for as late as possible in case there's a bit of a collapse, because he's a finisher. He's got the power to come in and go from ball 1.
Agreed. I think you keep Miller in your back pocket for now.
Yeah.
You don't really want him losing his wicket in the 8th over or something like that.
Yeah, you don't want to risk what happened to like a Butler. You send him out there too early.
Yeah.
Gets taken out, and then you're in trouble.
Yeah. I have a feeling. Oh, jeez, that's a good ball kept out from Sterling.
Great ball, well kept out.
149 km an hour. I have a feeling that they might just give Sterling a bit of rain here. Maybe not with the start that they've had, but if you think about a total like that, if you have a 1 oak that comes off at 40, 45 or 20 balls, the rest of your batsmen don't really need to take that many risks.
No, you just need them to tick along then. There goes Sterling.
No, not there.
Gap, 4 runs.
I think that was his innings kind of last night as well. He just kind of had a go at it. For that. I wouldn't be surprised if he,
he's the go man.
Yeah, he's a go man, and get to 40 or even 30 or 15. 30 is a big dent in the total.
100%. And I mean, it's as you said, if he can do 30, 40 runs, take that chunk out of the total. I mean, the rest of the guys only have to score 110 together.
Yeah.
Or flashes
Oh,
again.
there we go.
And it's
Throw at it. There we go. Yeah. And exactly what we said for Nokia. You just got to throw it, because if you toy around with Nokia, he's probably going to beat you. You know, well, he's kept out that Yorker at 150 k's an hour, and then just throwing the blade at 2, and all of a sudden you wouldn't have put your money on it, but now Nokia's under pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's raced away, and he's got to figure something else out, because he can't be getting that Yorker worked well. He needs to do something more like that stays low, because that extra bounce at that speed, any sort of bat on it, and it's 9 times out of 10 it'll sail to the boundary.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just cleaned him out. That is huge.
We've said
Paul Sterling.
Payson hasn't been the player all day. Maybe Nokia's made his match.
This is getting expensive quickly.
There we go.
What a shot by Sterling, though. Just waits on it and cleans him out.
He was waiting for that. He was waiting. Yeah, clear the front foot before he had bowled the ball.
Jeepers. And I think this is where you're seeing what the Paarl Royals have learned by being out there for 20 overs. They've learned how to attack the pace, where to play the spin. They know the pace is sticking slightly, so if you just give it that little bit longer to get onto the bat and then play it,
jeez.
It's going to run away as well.
Oh, probably just a single.
Yeah, just a single.
I mean, judging by that type of shot, he's clearly been given license. You know what I mean? He's already won the over.
Yeah.
Now he's stepping across his stumps to Nokia. You know what I mean?
Bang him over like third.
Yeah. Like it's a bit of a nuts shot to play versus
I can tell you one thing for free. There's no ways that I'm playing that shot against Nokia.
I'm not stepping closer towards off stump.
No, there's no chance. I might step outside a leg stump, but I'm not going anywhere near off stump.
I'm giving myself more space.
Yeah. But yeah, as you said, I mean, even Sterling, if he just 30 or 40 quick runs.
Leave.
And he's taken a big bite out of the target. But this is after that over and Matsuyami's over. It's just, I mean, Bosch has bowled 2 perfect overs, and the guys on the other end just haven't backed him up.
Yeah, I mean, I see. Dave Villas also just holding an end. Really, it seems funny to say in power play. But he's not really a 150 plus strike rate kind of batsman. Obviously, you don't need to be in this type of chase, but I kind of see that being the case with even if Sterling goes out and Morgan comes in, I still feel like he'll be the holding role.
100%, and let the guy on the other end do the work, the hard.
Just go out and run a ball, maybe 120 strike rate.
Bosch back into the attack for his third. Clipped off the pads.
Attacking the stumps, which I don't think is a bad idea.
No, not after the way it worked against Butler.
No.
Do you want to jump in? Am I out?
Okay, and
we're going to have a change in comms here. Old Stevie P's back from
the CEO is not a word.
So we're talking about Ross. We've dusted him now. Thanks, Ross. Go get off air there.
Pleasure. Goodbye.
Hello, Dan.
How's it, Stevie? How are you?
We're chilling up here. We're chilling out here. I was getting a bit bored of Ross's voice, and maybe the audience was as well. So I thought I'd just remind him that his time is done.
Okay.
But this is not a bad
start. You were just jealous that
they
were loving me more.
Hey, mute yourself and go and do what you need to do. Interesting. That's going to be a teaser.
Oh, he's got away with one.
Right, so Dan this has been quite the start. 40 for 2. You're going almost 10 and over, and Paul Sterling's come out with some intent.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're listening to this, Stevie, but we're just chatting about. I reckon Paul Sterling looked like he's just been given license here, and he's taken it to the Capitals. I think kind of said, listen, like, you're going to have to react quickly, because if I come off here, if he gets 40 off 20, that just leaves the rest of his batsmen, who are all kind of super happy going at 120 strike rate. If you think of Dave Villas, Owen Morgan, Miller, they're not going to give their wicket away quickly, especially if they don't need to take risks. So they have one person come off with a hot strike rate and score 40 plus. They've made a major dent in what the chase will eventually be.
Yeah, I think the main thing is sort of the idea of getting ahead of the chase, and not letting the chase get away from you. And I think that if Paul Sterling does go and play that kind of hand, it suddenly brings sort of the equation. When you start looking at equation of like 80 or 60, for example, those are very straightforward run chases, where you just sort of staying with the run rate, staying with it, not letting it get over away from you. And I think that at the moment, 113 of 91 balls, you're very much on track. Yeah, you've lost 2 early wickets. So you need to consolidate a little bit, but at the same time, as I said, if Sterling comes off and he goes and gets his way to 50, for example, or something like that, or 30 or 40, and get yourself to basically a required run rate of sort of 6-7, then everybody else can just really go for it and just sort of take the time. As he's going to find another boundary, he is going to find another boundary. This is quite the knock being played here by the Ireland International. He moves to 21 off just 12. Sorry, I think it's Dave Villas actually. No, I changed it. Yeah, it was Paarl Sterling. 21 off 11 there for the Irish lad. And yeah, and this over here, it's not even a high risk shot. He just waits for it and cuts it as late as possible.
Yeah. Looks like a cross seam ball, not really moving in and about. I think that's class, just to use the pace on, and we've seen pace on go for runs. Ethan Bosch still done exceptionally well, and I think done well, especially when he's attacked those wickets. You saw that a bit of a lucky break when it's knocked Butler's bails off, but fair play. He still had to do the business. But I'll be interested to see if Nokia comes back here. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Nokia has been your premier bowler the entire tournament. He's one of the best bowlers in the world right now. He did go for 14. So do you go and say he's going to go for runs? Let me keep him. Maybe for after power play when you can protect the boundary a bit more. Or do you sit there saying, you know what, I actually need to get rid of Paul Sterling, and the best thing to do? No, they're not going to do it. They're going to give it a go. Pretoria to go. Yeah, I did wonder. I think you might just. I think this is also going to be a bit of a let's get through the power play and bring Nokia. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes on quite quickly after the power play, but when they can put a couple of players out, and let it be quite aggressive whilst having a couple of players out there for any big shots or top edges or whatever.
I think you've seen Nokia used in times where the opposition team look a little bit fragile, which is why I was very surprised he wasn't bowled in that second over.
Yeah,
I felt like he could have been used there. That was such an opportunity. 2 new batsmen at the crease. It's almost like they wait for them for a chink in the armour. But let's see Pretorius here. David steps across a stump, block, and just a dot ball.
Yeah, I think I was listening to you guys, and I completely agree. I think that he had to be bowling to Josh Butler. He's had a previous battle with Josh Butler as well. Get him in early, get him bowling to Josh Butler. They didn't need him to in the end, but I think that would have been the better ploy. But look, it's difficult to question the captaincy when they did get that wicket. But yeah, it has been a bit expensive. But current rate 8, just over almost 9 in the current. Pops! Oh, what happened? Almost Jimmy Neesham again.
It would have been another
an absolute scream if he had taken it.
Pommy and Bangwa commentary, getting more and more excited as Jimmy Neesham takes another catch. I'm sure you've watched that on replay a couple of times this last week.
And look at how he just jeepers, and you wouldn't rule it out, would you? You wouldn't rule it out.
No. We said one of the most exciting players of the tournament, if not the fingertips.
Full straight. It would have been an absolutely sensational catch, and would have been a big moment in the game as well. Paul Sterling currently going at 190 strike rate. We don't realize going at 100 strike rate. The current equation: 105, 87 balls. Very good start here. Last ball of the power play. Almost finding a bit of an outside edge there, but I think it's been a really good power play. I think that Victoria Capitals had a very slow power play, and we sort of spoke about how the contrast in power plays can really set you up. And to get 50-55 of the power play would be a really good start. And again, it just puts you ahead of the game and means you don't have to take necessarily risks. You don't have to worry about catching up. And then it comes to a stage, just take the game as deep as possible. You're sitting there 5 overs, away and your required run rates, maybe 9 or 10, you can afford, and you've got wickets in hand, you can afford to have a bit of a dip, and you can afford to take a couple of bowlers on, and so that 15, 16 over, get yourself most of the way there, and then just sort of tick off the runs towards the end.
For sure. I think also, I mean, obviously they lost the match by 50 plus runs yesterday, but I mean the Paarl Royals were essentially chasing 163 yesterday, and as much as there wasn't much consequence for Pretoria Capitals had they not chased that because they still won the match. I think they'll take a bit of confidence knowing that they actually ended up getting there, and it wasn't just their frontline batsmen that got them there.
Yeah.
They went down to the Fortains of their team to actually get over the line. So, I think they'll definitely take a little bit of confidence in chasing again. Similar score, looks like a much more difficult wicket, different way of batting, but yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, a great end power play there for
Victoria.
Just 4 runs from that. That brings the end of the power play, 49 for 2. Not a bad power play. Pretoria Capitals got 32 for 1, so it must be a power play there from the Royals. But the big news, I suppose, Jason Roy, Josh Butler back in the dugout. Paul Sterling, however, going along very nicely. He will have strike. And now I'm interested to sort of see, are they going to slow it down? Will we start seeing Adil Rashid, who almost being brought straight into the attack, which is the player I'll be making?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Agreed. I think you got to bring in Rashid. You saw how well Shamsi did. Obviously, both leggies, different bowling arms, but the slow play is definitely a good one. I'll be interested even when they start to use Mutashami now, needing him to clock in a couple overs, having not started too well. Do you think they'll go spinners back to back?
I wouldn't be surprised. They have gone to Adil Rashid as expected. I think this will be a big moment in the game. He's going to Paul Sterling, who's been quite aggressive. Now, I'll be interested to see how Paul Sterling will go after this. But yeah, I think I'd be very much looking at just a straight bat there for Paul Sterling. I think I'd be very tempted to go spinners on both ends. And I think the main thing is to try and just stop the flow, stem the flow, try and get that required run rate up, try and put a bit of pressure back on the batsman, force a loose shot, try and get a wicket, try and get yourself back into the game. Because if they carry on scoring as freely as they have, they'll be with the chase and tie, and that's a pretty bad drag down. And he's got away with that actually.
That should have been 4 runs. Yeah, I think Paul Sterling just needs to wait. Know that. Well, there's a missed opportunity, but he should be able to get a boundary once every 3 balls. He's already ahead of the game. He doesn't need to chase everything, especially now that it's going to come a little bit slower. It's easy just to start chasing that ball, the slow one that's sitting in the deck.
Oh dear, it's got to be gone. It's got to be gone. That it is gone. Yeah. He gets the breakthrough.
Only thing it could be is maybe outside the line, but I think it's gone.
Yeah, I think that's desperation. I think Dave Pierce probably would have told him not to have gone up. Yeah, as it may impact outside, he did get quite a lot of sort of outside exhaust stump there. But just a strange shot selection really to try and fetch him from that wide and to the leg side. What he wanted to try and do, and I think for that, if he is out, I think they'll be frustrated because I just don't think there was any need for that sort of shot. I'm all for trying to move the game along, but I mean it's. Yeah, he's just through the shot. Yeah, I think he's in trouble. Yeah, I think he's in big trouble. Yeah,
a little bit slow. It was definitely a bit of a drag down, but I think he seemed to have preempted it in some ways.
He's so far ahead of the shot.
Early. Yeah, must have been a little bit slower. I mean, no, that's stone here. Yeah, 2 bad reviews from both teams.
Yeah, I don't think anything's coming to save him out there.
That's it.
Impact in line, going on to miss. To hit, I'm sure. Yeah. Cheers. That's a
immediate impact. This is big. So, do they bring in Morgan?
Yeah, I think it's exactly the type of person you bring in now.
He knows Rashid from years of experience.
Knows the plays, knows how he'll do it. And I think more to the point, experience. He knows how. I mean, he's played every single situation out there in T20 cricket. That's a good knock though from Paul Sterling. That's gotten him ahead of the game. 3 wickets down is the frustration, but I don't think you can really hop onto him before the wicket's down. Bit of a loose shot, you'd have to say, but I think the important thing is he's gotten them ahead of the game. He's now set this up for the other batsmen to take it as deep as possible. I mean, all they're asking really is for the next 3 to 4 batsmen to go and score 160 odd, 110 odd runs.
Yeah. What it does do, as much Dan that knock of his of 12 or 15 didn't look so bad when his partner was going at 200 strike rate. Now all of a sudden he's the in batsman and now has to start going for it.
Yeah. Well, I think
so it'll be interesting to see how he attacks it.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the message from Owen Morgan is. If Morgan's saying, listen, you need to start going, or if Morgan's saying, no, listen, you anchor us and I'll look to you positive, because we know how Morgan can look to you positive. I mean, speaking of positive, Dave Miller busy warming up. He doesn't get much more positive in 10th than Dave Miller. But Owen he's striking at 148. Hasn't scored a lot of runs this tournament. But I think I wouldn't surprise me if Owen Morgan actually takes the responsibility and says, you anchor down and I'll look for that 1-2 boundaries and over. Be there at the end type thing.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he's more than capable of just being out. I mean, you saw a decent ball there, just knocking it for singles. That's the difficult thing to do, you know. And then just pick up the bad ball.
Yeah, 100%. And Adil Rashid's giving away a bit of a freebie there, firing that down for wide. Yeah, very interesting battle this. I mean, Owen Morgan's captain Rashid to World Cups was one of his sort of secret weapons, ace up his sleeves type bowlers. Now he has to try and do the business against him, and that does turn a mile and goes to on the right hand side there.
Good over though. One more ball to go. Can he keep it tight? Yeah, I think Morgan's just probably pushing this for a single, maybe two. If it's a drag down, I reckon he's going to go for it though.
It's pretty full. Oh, he misses out. Oh, it's good delivery as well. Just sort of tossed it out towards that outside off, trying to bring in that shot. I don't think he was looking too aggressive. There was Owen Morgan probably quite happy to watch the go, but this is a great delivery. Just that sort of fist stump line does move out a little bit, and he's quite late on it actually in the end as Owen Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I mean, interesting. Last night they used Rashid in the final over.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? You think they're keeping, they do that again? Do they close out with Rashid? I mean, typically spinners don't bowl the final 3 overs of a T20 game.
If there's one thing
is it different on a pitch like this?
If there's one thing we can say about last night, I don't think there's anything typical about that Pretoria Capital's use of bowlers. You know, Rashid finishing, Colin again.
How often have we seen Mr. Brain as a captain though? Maybe it's his style.
The question is, well, I mean, that's sort of that's putting a lot of assumption on the fact that he's got that much license. You know, the strap breaks, there'll be strategy. I'd be very surprised if he's just in there saying, "Well, you know, Paarl wants me to do this as well as Grand 4, but actually, I know what I'm doing here, and I'm bowling Rashid at the death." Look, I suppose also yesterday they were so far behind the game, it didn't really matter who's going to bowl at the death. But here comes Jimmy Neesham. I'd be interested to see how he goes. He's somebody who can change up his pace as well. Doesn't bowl express. I think for him, you know, we saw Pet the Choir bowl that really good spell.
Yeah, I think he could be a game changer here. I think his ball could really, you know, if he gets 2 wickets, you know, at a decent rate, I think the Paarls are going to struggle here because we saw how much the pace off the ball has been difficult. As long as you don't throw it too full, I think he'll be good, which he doesn't often with his experience.
Yeah, so there we go. On a length, just that sort of 4-stump line, pretty perfect. 132. Yeah, and he can bowl those all day at the end of the day. And I think what we have seen, you know, that back of the length, you know, bowling it into the pitch, using the pitch has really worked. You know, don't pitch a full take
I think nothing too full and something on the stumps. The batsmen have been so scared to throw hands at it because they don't really trust the bounce of the ball. So when it's on your stumps, you worry, you bring LB and bowled into play as did with Butler. And when it's full, it's gone anyways. So
as we cut through
4 runs. What's happened with the catch there? He looks in big trouble. Rousseau.
So I think he's taking a fingertip there.
Lots of close calls with these catches. Let's see how close this was.
He cut away there. Oh, I think he's taking the fingertips there.
No, probably just taking a nail.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
He's got all the strapping, but it's hit the millimeter of finger that's beyond it.
Yeah, and that hurts. I've been there. So he'll depart the field, Riley Rousseau. Yeah, just taking the sort of the fingertips and stuff. I don't think it's too serious. But you got a good shot from David Us, who is still striking less than 100. And I think the important thing is to keep ticking along. Now he comes down the pitch, and Nishan responds by banging short.
Oh,
It's been signaled wide, and safe to say Jimmy Nishan doesn't agree with that call.
I think that's tough. I think he stepped across his line. He's come down. It doesn't look too high. It shouldn't. Maybe it's too high.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Maybe
it
it's
is
too
going
high.
about
It
shoulder.
looks right at the square leg umpire.
It is going about shoulder height, and he's come down. So, yeah, but ice cream being handed out there in the hospitality must be nice. Must be nice.
No. Ice cream, you say?
Yeah, they look like these little box of homemade ice creams.
Ice cream in a box. Really stepped it up, eh?
Oh yeah, listen, we operate up here in Joburg. Right, just a single there. So 6 from the over so far. 2 balls remaining.
It's a milk. There'll be a milkshake down here in Cape Town.
And in Pretoria, it's a brandy and coke in a box.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Right, needs to finish strong. Yeah, he's gone for 6.
Good start. It's been a good comeback here. Let's see how Morgan gets on. I think it's a good knock by Villa so far. If he can get those boundaries when it's a bit wide, he's gonna get above the 120 mark as his strike rate. But I think it's just so much of this is not letting the bowlers settle. We saw how Sterling did it to Nokia, and he ran away with the over. So I think it's trying to set your tone quite early. It's a good
on the outside edge there from Morgan. Interesting battle. I'm just looking for Morgan. He sets himself very early. You know, there's no sort of late sort of movements down. He's pretty much, I mean, he gets into that baseball stance, and he's pretty much there from as soon as the bowler walks in. It's quite interesting to actually have to be. I don't think I would have the patience to be able to set myself that early in that kind of position, you know, and still be able to wait for it.
It's funny that, Stevie, there's a bit of a difference between, you know, World Cup winning captain and your batting, but, you know, neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
I guess patience pays off sometimes.
Yeah, I can go on to win more. I've got more time on my thing. But that's it. But I mean, it's interesting to see that sort of the modern batsman there. You know, there's no longer this orthodox hold there. I mean, he's up there in that baseball grip, and he's up there early, and he's just waiting for that one ball that he can really, really go after. But Dan, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to bring in Ross. We have rehired him.
Looks I'm going to die.
Well, apparently he's going to die as well. So we'll see you guys in a bit. We are back. Hello, Roscoe. How you doing?
Hello, Steve. Good and you. Better now that I'm rehired.
There we go. Contract dispute. Yeah, we had a couple of contract disputes, but the good news is that we have negotiated Ross to stay on. As Morgan has just slapped that past the fielder for 4, starting with the boundary against Rashid, and now he'll sort of just punch one out towards long on there. But 90 off 71. Sorry, 90 of 70. The equation will now be Paarl Royals in the driving seat.
Definitely. I mean, and I feel like, I mean, Pretoria, you look at Ethan Bosch's start. He bowled 2 perfect overs. Got 2 wickets, went for none. He put all the pressure on the Paarl Royals. And then you've had Nokia and you had Matsuyama, who came in from the other end, who just undid all of Ethan Bosch's work. And now the Pretoria Capitals are sitting in a position where they're going to have to bowl like they've never bowled before. And so I think at the moment it's very much in Paul's favour.
Yeah, I think this is the important sort of... Oh, well, there we go.
There's a wicket.
This is the big moment from Adil Rashid spell. You know, I was about to talk about the fact that this is a big play in terms of Adil Rashid being that, you know, that premier spinner. And he's bowled Villas through the gate. The Villas going back has crashed onto middle stump. He goes, but she's got a second, and look at this ball. It's an absolute ripper.
It's an unbelievable ball. And I said to you, Steve, just when Rashid came into bat earlier, that he's going to have a big part to play in the game later on, and he's doing exactly that's a massive wicket.
Yeah, so the Googly hasn't picked it at all, and it's kind of dragged back a mile. In fact, I mean, he's probably pitched just outside off stump, but it's gone back and it's crashed into almost leg, actually, really. And they are going to take the power break, strap break here as Dave Miller walks in. But now, I would say the game is in a bit precarious position.
I was going to say, because now if Rashid picks up or somebody picks up Miller quickly, then you've got to think that the game's turned back in Pretoria's favour. And so it's going to be interesting.
I mean, I think 162 or 100 sort of 160 or 155 or whatever was always going to be pretty competitive, given the fact that we saw a pitch there. But as I said, I think the important thing is, if you start well, and reduce that. So now 90 of 68. The biggest issue is they keep falling, losing wickets. If they are 2 down, you'll think that they're very comfortable. But 4 down, you've now got your last batsman walking out there. Until after that, you're into the all-rounders. You've got your Andy Petroquire coming in, your Evan Jones, your Bjorn Patane, and Tabrek Shams and Lungi Giri. So there's no batting there. So it's now this next, I reckon, sort of 4 to 5 overs are the big period in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's as you said, like, they're just losing wickets too quickly, and it's just as guys were getting in. As Sterling was getting in, he was out. As Villas was getting in, he was out. And so, yeah, as you said, I think the next 4 overs or so is going to be a big period. And if Pretoria Capital strike next, they bring themselves right back into this.
Interesting to see what sort of ploy they play here. You've got Adil Rashid operating. On the one end, you got Jimmy Neesham on the other hand. You still got 3 overs from Anurag Nokia, and I reckon that you'll see, if 1 wicket were to fall, I reckon you'd start seeing Nokia coming back in and trying to knock over the likes of Petroquire and Evan Jones, stuff like that. He is, he's brought back on, to correct. As we just went to bring Roscoe back. But so it's it, and Ross should be back momentarily. Right, and we're back. No, I'm not sure where Ross went. He also had a strap break, apparently. But we are back. And Dave Miller, he's had a decent tournament so far. Average of 32 is nothing to sniff at. Almost 200 runs. And he needs to play an innings tonight if his side is to go to the final. And Owen Morgan, Dave Miller. Tell you what, though, if there's 2 players that you'd pick across the tournament to be in this sort of situation, these 2 would probably be pretty high on the list. Maybe not Morgan in terms of his form and playing so much cricket these days, but in terms of what these 2 players have done in the past.
I agree. I mean, as you said, Morgan hasn't been in the best form of his life, but neither's Riley Rousseau, and you saw him put 50 on earlier. So it just takes one game. So if Morgan and Miller both tee off, then it's game over for Pretoria. But I think it's on a tightrope at the moment. It could go anyway.
Yeah, and again, Adil Rashid spell proving to be pretty pivotal. And if he were to take 1 more, then you'd think that. But I mean, it's a pretty meaty looking scorecard there. You've got the decent knock for Paul Sterling, 21 of 14. It's a nice start, but 13 of 8 from Josh Butler. Dave Willis, 18 of 22. 2 players getting starts, not being able to really kick on. And I'd say, actually, at the moment, Anurag Nokia being brought on, interesting. The interesting thing, the win probability currently sitting at 60%, Paarl ROYALS, 40%, Pretoria Capitals. And I genuinely think that the match rests on when the next wicket falls. I think you can get 1 more wicket, you get the all-rounders in, then I think things will sway towards Pretoria Capitals. But right now, with these 2, I think Paarl ROYALS are in charge.
Yeah, because I think, I think for Pretoria, if they want a chance, that wicket needs to come quickly. Because I think if these 2 knock 20 runs off that total quite quickly, 20, 25 runs off that total quickly, then it's very much in Paarl's favour. It's a good start to the over from Nokia, though.
Yeah, Nokia bowling back and bowling fast, bowling aggressively, and it'll be interesting. Nice little duel between And the thing is that if Nokia starts bowling well, you've got Rashid bowling well as well. You can't see both of them off. Rashid's got 2 more
Yeah.
overs, Nokia's got 5 more, 2, 3 more overs. That's 5 overs in total. So you've got to try and find a way of rotating the strike and staying with the run rate during the spell. If Nokia does really start to hit his straps like he has been all tournament, as he goes into his third ball of the over. Ball for length, takes off us at the outside edge, and Miller struggling to get him off here.
But you know what I think the tricky thing is, Steve? So this has been a great start to the over by Nokia, and if he continues to bowl dot balls, he's doing an incredible job. But at the same time, if he bowls, let's say he bowls, he's got 2 overs left.
3, or 2 after this.
2 after this. Let's say he bowls 18 dot deliveries. It's a big help, but then he's done through, and you've still got these 2 at the crease. And then you bring on a part-time, or they chase Jimmy Neesham, and if these 2 are still there, that total's still chaseable, even with only 40 balls left. So Nokia needs to bowl dots, but he needs to take wickets.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's the main thing. Look, I mean, I think they'll find a way to go at 4-5 and over, even against him. Yeah. So I think that right now wickets are the currency. You get 1-2 wickets, balls, and I think you're in there, because again, that 160 at the moment, you're thinking, well, each of these need to score 40 odd, and they'll get there.
And they very much have the capability to score 40.
Because they could do things like that. Late cut there from Owen Morgan. It's raced away to the boundary. And Nokia, after a very good over, has been dispatched for a boundary. That's the 6th ball of the over. So it's still not been bad, but as I said, they've got the class to just wait for that. He just waits on that and cuts it past the backward point, finds that boundary. And that's kind of pretty much all you need. You get a single with that over, set up the over, and you'll sit there and say, thanks. Okay, cool. Nokia bowled well. We still got 7. We're still sticking with the rate.
And I mean, it's as you said, they might not score 20 off Nokia, but they've got the ability to score 5, 6, 7 and over off Nokia, and that's all they need.
Yeah, 82 off 60 balls is the equation. So a decent return from the Queer compared to his 14 in his first over. But the Paarl Royals at the moment still looking uncomfortable. And I think for me, the main thing is that Owen Moore's looking pretty comfortable. 13 off 9, he's found the boundary twice with some nice little death shots. And again, we're looking at the wagon wheel. We're at the halfway stage in the innings, and they are ahead. Yeah. They've lost more wickets, only 1 more, so they are ahead. They're just ahead. It's actually pretty even. I mean, Paarl Royals 72 for 4, Pretoria Capitals 69 for 3, which is why I think the Pretoria Capitals are probably still ahead of this. But I think you look at the batsmen at the moment again. That's just I think the Pretoria Capitals are top order heavy side, and so you look at their position there, and you're thinking, well, they've got Riley Soto still in, but they need partners. Whereas you look at the Paarl Royals, who just got for me a really good batting lineup. I mean, they've got 2. We've got one of the world's best. No, you've probably one of the world's best batsmen in there right now, Dave Miller, and Owen Morgan has got all the experience in the world. So I'm still leaning towards Paarl Royals right now.
I just clipped off the legs there for 1. They're going to come back for the 2nd. Yeah, comfortably.
Yeah, interesting that they've decided to go to some pace here. I'm interesting to see. Would you have taken Adil Rashid off?
I wouldn't have. I would have given him 1 more, see what he can do, because he's just taken the wicket. And I mean, we saw in the first innings, when you get the pace wrong, the pace is expensive. I mean, you even saw with Nokia in his first over. When you get it wrong, it's expensive on this track, and Pretoria aren't in a position to afford expensive overs, and so I would have kept Rashid on.
I suppose the only thing is that they are bringing on, their premier wicket taker Seamer and Ethan Bosch, who's had a knack this tournament of breaking partnerships of finding wickets. So he went for just 6 in his first 2 overs. So I suppose you are bringing back on a wicket taker, but I would have kept on Adil Rashid, maybe brought on Ethan Bosch on the other end actually. But I think this is twofold. This is to try again to tie up an end a little bit. Ethan Bosch, they've struggled to get him away. And just try and get that run rate. I mean, the required run rate's 8.13. The current run rate's 7. You need to get that run rate down to 6.5 and get the required run rate up to 10, 11.
just again.
So
Bosch is bowling a very direct line. He's attacking the start. Oh,
that is brilliant
it
running.
should be safe. Great running. I mean, he's bowling a very attacking line, straight at the body, straight at the stumps. He's bowling a kind of you miss, I hit.
Yeah, and you look at the running here. Dave Miller turns and decides to go. He's very quick as Dave Miller. Getting there in the end. That's brilliant running. And that sort of intensity is exactly why I think, these two could be a big difference. We're turning that 1 into 2 there.
Yeah, it makes a very big difference.
I mean, they've just, they've gone 4 of the first 3 balls with no boundaries.
Yeah, doing what they need to do.
Yeah, I think captaincy's going to be interesting in the next couple of overs. You've got Rashid, who's got 2. You're only going to have 1 from Ethan Bosch after this. Nokia's still got 2. You're starting to almost going to worry about, where the other overs are going to come from because, you look at the others. Nishan went for 7 as first, so you imagine he'll bowl quite a few. But Wintersami, that took a bit of a liking to, went for 13. Miguel Pretorius went for 8.
Yeah, it's going to become a very... Yeah, they've really got to think about how they're going to play out the rest of the innings, the Pretoria Capitals. But at the same time, if they pick up a wicket now, it changes that. Then they've got a little bit of room for changing bowlers up, maybe bringing Jimmy Neesham in for another 2 overs or so.
Now that they actually sent him in, I'm about to say this is actually Miguel Pretorius bowling. This isn't Ethan Bosch.
I was going to say.
I was wondering, I'd love to see the bloody scoreboard, so the SA20 host could sort that out. It'd be great, because I was trying to see what sort of squeeze you're bowling at. But yeah, it is Miguel Pretorius bowling. He's fired that in.
That's him.
Gone over the top. That's really well played, and that's really frustrating because it was a good over up until that point, so they'll be frustrated at that. And that's kind of another perfect over there for the Paarl Royals because that's now gone for 7, I think.
I think 7 or 8.
And he's just gone over the top there, Zoran Morgan, who's looking very, very good at the moment. He's moved to 17 off 11 balls so far, striking at 154, and that's just effortless. Fielder up, picks it up nice and early and goes ahead of the top.
Yeah, and it's what we said with the pace. If you just get it slightly wrong on this deck, it's very expensive.
Yeah, it's better to be some fielding there from Jimmy Neesham, and that'll bring the close to the 11th over. 81 for 4, total 154. They're just past halfway. So once again, Paarl Royal still kind of in the driving seat, 66.82% shot probability of winning apparently at this rate. Looking at that, now Miguel Pretorius has balled 2. Ethan Bosch has got just the 1. Nokia has got 2 left. So it'll be interesting to see where they go here. I think Jimmy Neesham probably has to come back quite soon, but I think I'll be looking at bowling Rashid's 2 now. You have to make a play here.
Yeah, you've got to entrust him with the ball and get him to do what he's done so far. Get another wicket, get another 2 wickets, and it swings the game more in the Pretoria Capitals' favour.
Yeah, 100%. So a big decision coming now for Tennis de Brain to start making in terms of how he juggles his bowlers. Again, I think Mutasami as well. If you're planning on bowling him again, you probably have to bring him quite soon and see if he can take pace off. But the problem is
Riley Rousseau into
the attack. He fires it wide. This is, I'm not sure, the right decision. As he fires a wide in. And this is a big call here from Tennis de Brain to go give a part-time who hasn't bowled. I'm not even sure he's bowled at all so far in this tournament.
I think he's bowled once. And I actually think he picked up a wicket, to be honest.
Well, I suppose I think that could be the play. Bring on that part-time and let's see if they can create something. He tossed it up wide. But Miller's just helped himself along the ground for 1.
It's also... I can understand you wanting to bring on a part-time and see what happens. But at this stage of the game, in such a big game, you've dominated this competition from start to finish. And now you bring on a part-time halfway through the innings in the semis.
I suppose the only thing you're thinking is that it's almost like I suppose it's like a double bluff, It's bowling off spin to 2 left-handers. I think it's probably the play there. He's gone over the top. There's Morgan. Is there a man out there? Well, it's worked. It has worked. I just talked about the off spin to the left-hander, and he's got an outside edge. And look what it means.
Riley's done his job.
Well, we got to apologize for the Riley slander, but there it is. The off break. Bowling away from the left-hander. As opposed to Rashid and Mutasami. So what a piece of captaincy that actually is in the end.
Yeah. Fair play to Tennis. Fair play to Riley. He's been brought on and said, just find me something, and he's done exactly that. Now the game changes again.
Yeah, no, I
This
think
is turning out
this
to
is a
be-
very interesting situation now. You got Miller there. Look, you got Evan Jones, Andile Petliquire. These guys can bat. But I tell you, the problem with them is I think they are players who. I mean, Evan Jones is a big hitter. He's an aggressive player. He's very T20, stand and deliver type player. Andile Petliquire, I think, is also someone who doesn't really like to hang around too much.
Yeah.
So have they got the discipline to stick with Miller? Have they got the discipline to take this to the 16th over, 17th over, and take it as deep as possible? Bjorn Fontaine after that, but then Tabay Shamsi, Lungi Gidi. So they have seen an Evan Jones, who's supposed to come on behalf of Petliquire according to the team list. But this is going to be a very interesting period. You feel that that Pretoria Capital are 1 wicket away. They're a big wicket away from being in the finals. But Evan Jones could play a big hand here. I spoke about the fact he's a very late bloomer. He's only played 23. He had only played about 13 T20 professional matches before this tournament started, and he's 26 already. So big opportunity for him. And all he needs to do here is he needs to support his captain.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got to think now, if the Pretoria Capitals can knock Miller over, I think it's almost game.
It's gone straight out. Oh, it's almost gone down. I'm not sure if that was a bum ball.
What was that?
Bit of a strange shot. Look, I've seen Evan Jones hit some pretty unorthodox shots while I've watched him, and it just tossed up wide. And Morgan throwing his hands through. And I think I'd like to see it front on, because I reckon that's what the Ospin has done. A little bit of movement away. Caught that outside. Hey, that's come back a mile. He's asking. He's convinced as Riley Rousseau. Riley Rousseau, or is it Riley Rousseau, or is it Shane? Oh, look at that. The movement he's getting out there. I mean, that must have turned a good half a meter.
That's turned too much.
Imagine Riley Rousseau goes upstairs and they tell him it's doing too much.
Jeepers creepers.
I don't know if that's hit a crack or something, but that's come back an absolute mile. And if this is a wicket, then things will change. I mean, it's amazing how literally.
And now? Is that Miller getting undressed?
Yeah, okay, whoa. Babylon's down the road. It's too early for this.
He's had enough of his kit.
It's amazing. You're looking at the win probability here, and it was Paarl Royals up at 66%. Now after that wicket, it's come back. Oh, I tell you what,
this could be out.
Because I think Impact's actually
okay. This is a good shot.
Oh, is there an edge? No edge.
No. This could be clattering into the top
just outside, I tell you what, I think Impact could just be outside there.
It's going to be close. That looked,
I mean, it's a hell
if
of a
it's not
delivery.
out, it's going to be very, very close.
Right, here we go. Pitches outside. There's no issue with that. Impact. Umpire's call. I did say it's going to be close. Hitting. He's gone. Or does it keep it? Yeah, I think he is.
No, it stays with the umpire's call.
Yeah. I did say Impact was going to be the issue.
Unbelievable delivery. I mean, that has really nearly missed the leg stump. It's turned so much.
So look,
that is wild.
Riley Rousseau, Ravichandra astronaut chair. Send him to put him in the test team. And Wayne Palmer, how frustrating must it be for him to just sit there and watch, knowing he can't do anything for the rest of the tournament. And he was playing so well as well.
I think it's frustrating. You get given that captaincy role. You're playing really good cricket yourself for the first time in a while. You're slowly getting back into the national sides. Another one that's turned a lot. Slowly getting back into the national sides, and then you rule them. When you've got a chance, I mean, to captain your side to victory, and you're ruled out by injury, it's
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that impact, that umpire's poor impact. Yeah, and I think he was captaining well as well. It looked like they had established a really good culture and stuff like that. Everything seemed to be going very well. So frustrating for him. And now Riley Rousseau just darting them outside, ripping them a mile. I tell you what, 1 for 3. I reckon he might even get a second. And to see if he does get a second, we're going to be bringing in Dan the man. So I'm going to be taking a short break, and I will see you guys all a little bit later. I'll be with you guys for the final 4 overs, and we'll try and find out who will make it to the first SA20 final on Saturday. But until then, it will be Dan and Ross, and we'll be back in a little bit.
Unbelievable over.
all yours.
And we back. Dan, welcome back.
How's it, Flip? What a over to finish off there, and just to back it up with a bit of Adil Rashid.
Exciting game this. From what
Yeah.
was looking like not a very promising total is turning into quite an interesting chase here.
No, they've done well. I mean, I feel like if you take out those 2 overs, one from Nokia and one from Mutashami, like they're in big trouble.
I agree.
But I mean, still batsmen at the crease. As South Africans, there it is. We know what Miller can do.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's not what they need.
No, not at all. Who do you reckon's ahead of the game at this point?
I think as long as Miller's there, Paarl is still slightly ahead of the game. I think if Miller stays there and they lose one more, then it changes a little bit. But I think as long as Miller's there, Paarl are probably just ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think it doesn't really go that deep. I mean, Evan Jones, you wouldn't really want you wouldn't expect him to be facing or making more than 20. Same for Pesquire.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's close. That's almost gone underneath the bat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
they're going to have to just bowl wicket to wicket for Miller. They're going to have to play if he misses, we hit type of thing. Like if you're giving him width, I think it's hard to tempt someone like this guy into something. He's just so astute in these situations.
And it's exactly that. It's hard to tempt him because his timing is so good and he knows where to play the ball. So 9 times out of 10, you try and tempt him into something, he gets a hold of it and he clears you to the fence.
Agreed.
And as you said with Evan Jones and Pesquire, Evan Jones can hit a long ball, but is he going to stick around for a while? Probably not. You can probably force a mistake out of Evan Jones.
That was almost one there. I don't know if that was a bump ball or it was in the air for a little bit. But yeah, classic also. When it hits a long ball, you can also just get the sense he likes the ball coming to him.
Yeah.
Tempt him with one of those slower ones, just a little chip to cover
somebody out there.
Oh, how's that miss?
Oh, they're taking a run, hit the bowler's end.
Should be safe. It is. So the googly.
Evan Jones was nowhere to that. He didn't know what that was doing. Rashid turned him inside out.
Yeah, footwork of a bowler that.
And we've got a strap break.
Jeez,
What are
you replay of that?
What are you saying if you, the Pretoria Capitals coach now? What do you say to your guys to try and get them over the line, to try and get Miller out, get another wicket?
I think Miller's a difficult one because I mean he's one of the best players in this format in the world. So it's hard to chase a wicket like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Nokia get brought back into it and really try strike. I think you almost just got to keep it tight with Miller and try those few bad balls. He's good enough to put the other man on strike, which is actually not a bad thing, and then try work around that to a point where he feels he's under pressure.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to put someone like Miller under strike, and trying to go for hero balls every time for someone like him is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think you got to maybe bring Nokia back on. I think give Rashid this one. Keep Rousseau at the other end. See what he can do.
Keep Rousseau.
I think keep Rousseau for another over.
To be fair, he is turning it away from Miller, which will help.
So I think keep Rousseau for another over and then bring Nokia on Rashid's end. And I think you've got to tell him to bowl it straight and fast. Maybe try and hit the Yorker a couple of times in the over. And just keep it very wicket to wicket. Give Miller no room to get under it and get it out to the fence.
Yeah. Especially with the fast bowlers, any width they've kind of gone for runs with pace. Like as you said, wicket to wicket. I think the LBWs and play the bowls in play. Like then they're probably not going to have a slip in place anyway. So you don't really need to tempt the outside edge. I think maybe they've even looked now, especially because of Miller, as a replacement potentially for Mutashami, because Mutashami will be turning it into Miller, which he would much prefer.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he does come back for that second one. This is going to be a big play. That I think this is a point in the match.
Yeah, and I think you've got to be careful of bringing Watchalong back on, because if he goes for another one like his first over, then the game gets taken away from you completely.
Yeah, agreed. I think,
but it's going to be an interesting finish to the chase.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Who's bowling here? It does
Jimmy Neesham brought on.
Jimmy? Okay, well he's only bowled one over. They've managed. It feels like they've managed to keep a lot of their
bowlers.
Nokia and Neesham, they each have 3 each.
Yeah, Nokia's got 2 left. Neesham's got 3.
Yeah.
She's got 1.
Yeah,
Osha's
1. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they bring on Matashami back. I think as long as Miller's there, they're not going to.
Yeah, I think they'll leave him back on the field somewhere.
It's just, I feel like that damage could be bad within 4 balls. It's 20 runs, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, we were speaking earlier about you just need that 1 over in innings or 2 overs in innings where it goes for 20. And if an over goes for 20 now, I mean, if you brought Mutashami on for this over right now and he went for 20, they then need 44 to win with 6 overs left, and that's a nothing game then,
Yeah.
Oh, that's there we go. It's a wicket. I don't know if that was LBW, but it's hit the wickets.
It's gone no matter what. There we go, Jimmy Neesham. That looks like it's also gone underneath the bat.
I thought that hit him on the pads. I thought that was LBW.
I think it's gone.
I think he was appealing for the LBW.
Oh,
it's hit the pad back onto his hand and hit the stumps.
Onto the elbow. To be fair, I think he was out.
Yeah, because initially Jimmy Neesham was appealing for the LBW.
Yeah.
Because that was definitely stone dead.
I think he was gone regardless.
Yeah. Well, that's a big strike from Neesham. Come in, first ball back, and you pick up a stick.
Especially because I think Jones would have actually quite fancied himself against Neesham, if anyone. He would have been able to free up the arms a little bit.
A little bit of pace, nothing too insanely quick. Free up the arms and clear him out of there.
You did say wicket to wicket, though. You did, which is exactly what's on the money.
Yeah.
Andile, 2 left-handers now. Probably still goes even more so for the opting of Rousseau if he does come back with Shami. He also likes width, Andile. He can
play
the ball.
Yeah.
I think he also just does like a bit of pace on it as well. So it'll be interesting.
Here's the LBW review. Yeah, he's stone dead, man. Yeah, he was out either way.
Yeah. At least this way you can complain and say he was hard done by. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're going out in 2 different ways in one delivery. It's quite impressive. But I mean, now you can almost think though, because this changed the game a little bit. I mean, if they get Petla here, there's what you said about the width. What a shot!
With.
And I mean, it's like you were saying. So now with that wicket, if you can, it gives Pretoria an opportunity where they can just open up and end. If they can get Petla out of there, bring in Fortain, get Fortain out of there, and then you get into the serious tail. And you can leave Miller there if you just keep the strike away from him. But Pretoria's golden ticket would be to get Miller.
Yeah, I mean, the key not to let the person on the other end of Miller get the run.
Yeah,
essentially, because you need Miller to be able to keep himself on strike to be the hero.
Yeah,
that's what you need to make a mistake.
Yeah, there's a much better ball from Jimmy Neesham. There's that wicket to wicket, and I think that's what you're going to do. The second ball where he gave Petla was not good.
Yeah.
That's a wild wicket, that.
Yeah. Well, though, Jimmy Neesham. I mean, he just has an impact somewhere, shape, or form in the game.
Whether and only then does he realize that it's
he didn't realize it was ball. Let's see what he does here. Can he keep it straight? Yeah, he does very well.
That's exactly what he needs to do.
There we go.
And I mean, as you said, Jimmy Neesham has had an impact in just about every single game this tournament. Whether it's his catching, his bowling, he's done something in just about every single game.
Yeah, there aren't that many players. I'm thinking of like Ben Stokes. There are a couple of people that can just influence games, no matter
Yeah.
how they're involved in it. It's just like a bit of a golden player. It's just
I
a
think-
captain to call upon.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Neesham is one of those little bit more width there, but doesn't get it
Yeah.
away.
To be fair, I like that from Petlakar. I think you need to disrupt it if you're going to allow him just to bowl wicket to wicket. Like, try get singles. Like your job is to hit the bad ball away and to get the home run on strike. So, how do you view this last ball now? Because you don't really want to take the strike, or are you fine with him taking the strike and just a single? We played usually.
Yeah,
not quite a ball yet at 13.5 overs.
Yeah, I think you can give Petlakar the strike. I wouldn't be too worried. I think they would rather have Petlakar on strike than Miller. What a piece of fielding.
Thought it might have carried, but good comeback from Neesham. Kept it tight in
great.
his last balls there.
4 off the wicket. 4 off the over with the wicket is not bad.
Okay, I think this is. So they have a deal sheet, 1 more over. They've
got Nokia for 3.
Yeah, so I think they bowl.
You've got Bosch for 1.
I think they bowl.
Nokia.
Rashid out.
Rashid out.
And then bring in Nokia the other side.
Yeah.
Because then that'll give him 50. No, this is 15. That'll give him 15 and 18. Yeah. But you want Nokia 19, to be fair.
Yeah. So maybe what you do is you give Rashid 15, give Neesham 16.
Neesham, yeah. Then Nokia
17.
Although they could give Nokia rest
18,
him and
20.
give him 19.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Nokia next and then keep him for 19.
Yeah, and then keep Bosch for he has Nokia, yeah. Oh, so it's not what so he has Nokia in now.
Okay, so Nokia now, maybe a deal next.
Yeah, Nokia 15, a deal 16.
Yeah.
Nokia 17.
If they get a wicket now, they're in a bit of the other team.
I think Paarl are in trouble. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If there's a wicket in this over, I think Paarl could be in trouble.
Keep him for 19. Yeah, depending on how the game's going and how settled they are, I think Nokia will be 18 or 19 in.
Yeah.
But let's see how this goes and how Miller goes about going after him, because I think this is the matchup of the match so far.
Yeah, I want to Petlakar. Oh, he's got it through the field. 4.
He's done well. Done well again. That width.
Little bit of width, just too much, and there's not much width. That's the issue. Like it's just outside the off stump, but it's too much width on this pitch.
Which means you can free the hands a little bit.
Yeah.
And fair play to Ndida. He's put it away in the gap.
Shot. Yeah, I think, and it's what we were saying earlier. I mean, Nokia's almost got to come in and try and just hit Yorkers in a case of if you miss, I hit kind of situation.
Oh,
that was better.
Yeah,
at the body.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be uncomfortable with the pace. I think almost every batsman in world cricket is, like you don't really want it coming closer to the body. As soon as it's bowling fast and it's away from you, like no one's going to blame you for throwing hands at it.
Yeah.
You get caught. Like
exactly. But coming into the body, you're sort of just trying to get bat in the way and get your body out of the way.
Yeah. A little bit down leg. He's didn't throw well there. He's tickled it. It looked like a slow ball, I think.
Yeah.
I want to see a pace there. I don't know if we'll get it, but he looks like he's waited well there. And we spoke about not letting Andile be the one to get the runs, but I mean, he has been the one to.
Yeah, he's come in and taken charge of the situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nokia hasn't bowled well tonight. I mean, you look at that first one that Petlakar got away. It was too much width on the offside. And now you look at this, he's just bowling it too far down the leg side. Another good, that's a good ball, but also like just sliding down the leg side a little bit.
Yeah, I think he He needs a wicket here.
Yeah, he needs to try and bowl middle stump line because he's either slightly outside off or like getting close to going outside leg.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what happens. I think he needs to close out strong.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're thinking to get through his overs even to the extent that because he hasn't had the best spell today.
Oh, yeah.
You back him with a tournament. Oh, that's mean.
That's a
mean.
rocket ship, that.
Oh.
I'm very glad I'm not in there facing that. I mean, look, they even commentating, Polly and all of them are like, no, thank you.
and at least Perfect has been able to face it in the net.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't practice playing any shots with that. Just get out the way.
Yeah, move.
And yeah, maybe it was a bit of an angry ball from Nokia, which maybe was good, attack, I don't know, brought in to get the wickets. Obviously, it's almost like your bowlers around you are there to keep it tight, wicket to wicket, but you got to make you the one who's making the batsman uncomfortable.
Yeah, you the strike bowler. You've got the speed to make batters uncomfortable. I mean, even another approach they could take is maybe giving Nokia a third man or a fine leg and telling him to bowl it a little bit shorter, but
at his chest,
violently fast, and see if he gets a top edge. See if he tries to play a little ram shot.
Yeah,
and have a guy down
back in his crease and then put it on his toes.
Yeah, and see what happens. Yeah, it's just Bosch back into the attack.
I think he's had a great night so far with the ball.
Can he finish it for them?
Yeah, I think.
His last over, I think.
If there's 2 wickets in the next 2 overs, it could be a very tough ask for Paarl.
100%. The required rate up to 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a good finish, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost waiting for Miller to go off, but this is what he does. He just hangs around, does what's needed to do. Exactly. It's just like as soon as he's there, the person on the other end just feels so relaxed just to be able to play. And just because what if he needs to be there for give you the single, he'll be there. If he needs to hit 3 sixes in an over, he can probably do that as well.
100%. It's just Miller's on the other side. You've just got to rotate, strike, and stand there, and he'll do the rest.
Now I wonder if he's actually said, "Listen, like I would actually like you and you to have a crack and actually be able to throw your hands at it, because if that doesn't work for you, I'm still here."
Yeah.
Whereas if I do that and get it wrong, the team's in a little bit more trouble,
That's actually a good point, because I mean, he can say, I mean, they need 51 runs. If he goes to, that's chipped up, is there, man?
That's fine.
Safely. I mean, yeah, he can go down Dila and say, listen, you smash it, see what you can do. If you score 10, then it's perfect. If you score 20, it's perfect, because you've taken a chunk of it out. Now I only need to go when we've got 30 to get.
Yeah. I mean, you saw those first 2 balls. He had no real intention of clearing the rope. First one, he was trying to work for a single. And the second one, he realized wasn't going. He took a little bit off of it. I think he's just playing the match. He's trying to actually get everyone else to be the hero of it, unless he really has to.
Yeah, keep himself there till the end.
Well run. I thought that was going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon he's probably trying to keep himself there as long as possible. So if there is an emergency, he can sort it out.
Yeah. I mean, who do you have here? AB in his prime or Miller now?
AB in his prime.
No,
he was just too good. Bosch coming in, he's had an unbelievable spell. Straight into the body. They'll steal a single there. And who you taking? Miller now or AB in his prime?
I think maybe it's almost a rude question, because it seems rude to take anyone but Miller, but you have to take AB in his prime.
Like, there was just something special about him and his ability.
Yeah. Just like it's Miller's the selfish player, making the other guy the hero. AB would win the game with an over and a half to spare,
Yeah. But it's also it's on his field. That's not good.
No, that's a let off.
And I mean, but to be fair to Miller, there's times where he looks like a prime AB. Some of the shots he plays, the way he scores, there is some similarity there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's a very,
Bosch
very
is,
tidy over from Bosch.
yeah, got unlucky there with the misfield that yielded a single, but otherwise it's been tight from Bosch the whole day. Last ball of his spell here. Yeah, another good ball.
He's
Is
hit
there
it
a man
hard.
there? Yeah,
Someone out there.
should just
Just
be a
for one.
single.
Keep the strike. I think he's happy with that.
21 for 2 for Bosch tonight. I think he's done a very big job for the Capitals.
Okay, almost 12 and over needed for the last 4. One of them's going to have to go. One of them's probably going to have to be a 16 plus.
It's quite interesting there. The Paarl Royals are behind the Paarl score. Would never have thought that after the total that Pretoria set.
They did.
Okay. Who's finishing here?
Well, we fired Ross once again.
No, you didn't.
He just wants to.
You're
He
just
just
jealous.
doesn't want to leave, eh? Gets to the end of his shift and just sort of hangs around. He's like that person you can't get rid of at a party. But anyway, Dan, these things, I wouldn't say they're quite on a knife edge, because I would say that right now Victoria Capital's pretty on top. You know, that required run rate's edging towards that 12 required. And the only reason we're not talking about this as being pretty comfortable is the fact that Dave Miller's standing there.
Fully agreed. It seems so much more attainable with Miller there because you know he can hit it 20 plus over knock, you know, and really take the game away at any point. He's on strike now with Nisham there. What do you reckon, Steve? He's taking it to the sword now. I mean, last over he was really just kind of trying to knock it around. Let's see if will he take Nisham for the fences? Will he really go for it?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think it's either this over or the next over that you have to see a bit of aggression. As he slaps that. Oh, it gets dropped, actually. I think it might, I don't know if that's just short, if it's a drop from Tears to Bray. It would have been the perfect start. A single to start the over. Yeah, I think that.
With the way the ball's bounced, I think it's actually a drop, but a tough one at that. Knowing Miller, it's come out of the middle.
Yeah, I think at the moment, you know, you've got to look to be aggressive. Yeah, I think 46. You have an over of 6 here or an over of 5 here, and I think all of a sudden, I think, you know, you give yourself well back in the game. You know, so you either got to look at sort of 8, 9, and just sort of try and get yourself really in there. Oh, he's gone himself. That's been acquired. He's got all the way. It looks like no, he hasn't. It's been plucked up by Colin Ingram. What we thought about when they would go, he was trying to go. Andina Petlaquai has picked him out. He keeps furious with himself. It's a good work there from Ingram. He had to cover a lot of ground out there. Jimmy Nisham with the breakthrough. Petlaquai trying to move the game on. That's a big moment in the game. He actually looked pretty good with Petlaquai. Trying to be the aggressor there. He's got enough of it. It was going all the way, but he's just picked up the fielder. And Ingram, look what it means. I think they know that that's one foot in the final, isn't it?
Agreed. You've seen that Petlaquai was given license to throw the bat at it, and he did decently, 14 of 12. But I mean, it would have cleared the rope, but just not enough to clear the fielder in front of the rope. Fortain, it's not a bad option now for Paarl, but essentially Fortain, they're not wanting him to score more than 10 runs here and put Miller on strike. Miller is now going to full-heartedly take it upon his own to give this chase a good crack. Yeah. I don't think he's really wanting Fortain to throw too much at it unless he really believes in the shot worth taking.
Yeah, the win probability is now up to 83% for the Victoria Capitals. I think the big thing, the important thing here is the fact that that's 2 deliveries, only one from it, and Bjorn Fortain on strike. So unlikely to see this disappear first up. You know, best case scenario here for Paarl Royals is a single, and that would be then 2 off the first 3. So not the good start they would have needed. That required run rate does continue to climb. It is now over 12. and over. And Fortain, and there comes the rain. Here comes the rain. Are we going to see Duckworth Lewis come into
This
it?
can't be good for the Paarl Royals.
No, it can't be. And I think we saw that the Duckworth Lewis total. I'm trying to see where it is. But he will continue to go in. They're 12 runs behind at the moment, so Bjorn Fortain works it off his hip.
Yeah.
And Dave Miller will definitely not take a 2 there.
Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Miller with his back against the wall. We've seen him time and time again. What's he gonna bring out this time? I mean, it'll be massive if you could pull something off here. I think he's gonna have a good crack at it.
Yeah, so 127 is Duckworth Lewis pass score at the moment, so they are well behind it, and I think this is the thing, you've got to go now because the rain is coming into it. Then you know, so oh no, it's gone miles, it's in the air.
Can someone catch it?
Surely that's out. Oh, he's been put it down. He's been put down.
Gonna hit the grass.
Kusal Mendes has dropped it. They've gone through for the second. That could be. I mean, I don't think he'll live to really rue that. But that is a big moment in the game. That Duckworth Lewis would have catapulted had Miller gone out there. And as it is, just the 2. And yeah, Jimmy Neesham banging into the pitch there. Face off. I mean, it did go an absolute mile. Surprise.
Yeah, that's difficult. That's difficult. Like, you should be taking the high one. And
to be fair though, I think got into a good position. Yeah, I think he'll look at himself and he'll say he should be taking that. He got into a good position. He made up a lot of ground, but by the time he got there, the hand comfortably in their hands. Now he's gonna have to go again. He hammers that out. That'll go for 4. That is a David Miller. Runs. I mean, he just hits the ball so purely, and they go screaming through the covers for 4. So. Yeah, but unfortunately, that's 8 off the over. They're still well behind Duckworth Lewis. And the big thing with Duckworth Lewis, obviously, it sort of accounts for the resources you have at your disposal. So any wickets now will mean that that Duckworth Lewis will go up quite a lot as well. 128, the Duckworth Paarl score.
No, it's all on Miller here.
Oh, has he got
last ball?
I thought he almost had an edge in that.
I thought he nicked that.
Yeah, so did I. Right, so Duckworth Paarl Lewis.
Maybe it's hit his arm.
Yeah, DLR's pass score there, 128. So they're 8 runs behind it. Now, Bjorn Fortain will be on strike. A bit of rain around. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, you got to make a play. I mean, there's 3 overs left. So, of course, you got to make a play. But this has got to be the over. This has got to be the over that's got to disappear over 25. It's 2 things. You've got to try and get themselves ahead of Duckworth Lewis and try to keep yourself in the game. They need 38 to win, and they're 14 behind Duckworth Lewis, so they're gonna have to go here.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see how much the rain's coming down. It always is on TV, but listen, I think the job is Fortain, put Miller back on strike and see what he can do again. Who's gonna be bowling this over?
So 129 is the Duckworth Lewis score, so they're 13 runs behind score, and that's the wickets really at the end of the day. If they were 116 for 5, they'd probably be much closer, but DLS score. So those wickets proving quite costly. But the Pretorius, that's an interesting decision to make with 3 overs to go. Hasn't bowled badly, not the fastest, so we'll take pace off. He's gone for 6.5 and over in his 2 overs. So it looks like Adil Rashid might not bowl out. I reckon Diminution will bowl out, and then I think Nokia will also bowl out. That would be my guess. So I think we have seen the last of spin.
So I think it's going to be now Pretorius, Nokia, then, or maybe they even give Neesham the second last one because Nokia hasn't been great. Who knows? It could be Neesham on the 19th.
Yeah,
it'll be from the same
I would go. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you're always talking about that important bit. Oh, it's got straight over the top there from Bjorn Fortain. It will be safe though. So a single to start the over, which is not a bad result. Obviously, the main thing is to bring Miller onto strike, but Miller's got to strike well here because from the sounds of it, I don't think it's raining too hard. Nobody seems to be too panicky about the weather, so it looks like we will be able to hopefully get in another 12 minutes and finish the game. But regardless of the weather, the time to go has well past gone. And Miller 24-22, he struggled a bit to the line. We haven't seen that sort of killer Miller, but he's the player that we know can just flick that switch.
I think he's just waiting in the wings. I think he's just waiting for it to be his time. he almost wanted those around him to be able to get it done until he really needed to. But he's left himself a big task. Let's see what he can do.
Balls
Oh,
over
he's
the
going to
top.
get
How's it? I don't think it's enough there. There's not
Is it
enough.
big enough?
It's got enough.
No, it
He's got
is.
enough.
It is.
And that
It
tells you the
is.
timing
There
of the
you
player
go.
because he definitely did in the middle of that. I don't think he was happy with that as well. But especially in the high field, it continues to go. It sails over the boundaries. So
You're looking at his toe.
yeah, well, I don't think he
Shows
caught
you
all of
the
that at
bat's
all.
off today.
It is in
No,
the slot
that's
and
off the
wide.
toe. You can see the bat move in his hands.
Yeah,
That's the bottom right edge of his bat, but thrown enough at it. It's gone all the way. Pace on.
yeah. Field
Yeah,
fancied
it
it
just
for a
shows
while.
you with a bit of pace on and width, you can just throw hands and that's going here. That's a big blow. Let's see what he can do here next.
He goes
Oh,
with the-
he's throwing hands. Oh, no player there. I thought there might have been a catch and play, just a single. 8 off the first 3 balls. Good start. They're going to have to, I think, double this again, continue with the next 3.
Yeah. It seems to have stopped raining. I haven't seen too much visuals of rain, so yeah, I think now I'm more looking at the genuine 30 or 15.
Yeah, what does Pretorius do here to 14? I think again just pace off. 14 probably
And
still
for
looking
me
for
again,
14.
yeah, what do you do as 14? Because you can't lose a wicket either. You can't be bringing Shamsi in.
No.
He cuts it in half. Really, it's a great delivery from Pretoria. So if I'm Miller, I'm almost telling Fortain, right, you've now got 2. You try and have a go at these 2 because if you can find 2 boundaries, 22 or 12, I can do.
As long as Miller has strike,
Yeah.
it's a little off cutter there. Great ball. As long as Miller has strike at the beginning of next over, that's what's most important.
Yeah, so I'll be saying, try and give me something because I reckon Miller, if Miller says 22 or 12, he'll say I can do that.
Agreed.
So yeah, I
100%.
mean, Pretoria capped 73%. As I said, two back-to-back boundaries. I think changed the entire game. Well, that's the last thing he would have needed.
Play underneath the
Straight
throw.
underneath and scored towards Jimmy Neeshan. I
great
think in the end.
Great take.
And that's it. Bjorn Fortain is gone.
Great. It's a big wicket. Who comes in
Right, that'll be Shamo. Today Shamsi will walk in. So yeah, and again, he'll just have license. I mean, he'll just be told to swing at this. But
do you? I guess you have to give him a license with 2 overs to go.
well, the problem is you've got a ball here. You've got 1 ball left in the over, so you can say survive, and I'll try and take 30 off 12. But at the end of the day, Miller's going to have to try and take the next bowler for about 15, 16 and get off strike, and back Shamsi. And you can only give Shamsi 1 or 2 to thing, and then be on strike for the last.
Who's the butter in after Sham?
And Gidi.
Oh, right. Oof. So it's never fun seeing either Shambo or there we go, Ngidi in before.
Oh,
Never good seeing either of them coming at 10 before the final batsman.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Ngidi.
No.
I just see if I'm the bowler, I'm just bowling slow off cutter, hoping Gidi's adrenaline pushes it something up to the air.
Big call this. Do you think Miller has almost lost for them by taking too long to get going and letting that run rate creep up? It's harsh.
Yeah. I mean, no, yeah, I can't run there. Okay.
Because now you're staying at 30 or 12.
30 of 12. The first couple have to go. I don't think Miller takes a single, to be honest. It's only 2s and boundaries.
No.
That's what he's got to deal with. Maybe a single off the 4th ball, or the 5th ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's tough. 31 or 24 is not a bad knock,
No, it isn't. But I think the issue comes is that
a bit of responsibility.
Yeah, and I kind of just feel if you'd gone a bit earlier, the game might not have been as far away, and maybe Bjorn Fortain doesn't play that shot. Maybe he don't have to be as aggressive. Pet Lecquire has to take him on. I kind of sort of feel that when you're chasing 154, for Miller to be on 30, you want to be on 40. You want to be on 45. You needed someone to really take the thing and be like Paul Sterling seemed that was what he wants to do. He basically said, I'm going to knock 30, 40 runs off this for you guys. That'll be my contribution. I'm going to turn a score of 154 into a score of 110 with plenty of delivery still left for you guys. You know, that's what I can do for you.
Yeah. Then again, you look at like I'm liking it to like if you look at MS Dhoni and that win percentage of India when he was there while the final ball was bowled, which is astronomically higher than had he gone out earlier. So
Look, the one thing he hasn't done,
being there at the end, that's all you want him to do.
Yeah, so he hasn't absorbed responsibility. So he's created the scenario now. So you can't feel sorry for him, for example. You can't sit there saying, "Oh, shame, he has to do it again," because he's batted himself in there. But at the same time, he's going, "Yeah, it's fine. I can do it."
Let's see what happens.
First one goes down. They do seem to be running, which is a bit of a strange in the gap. So surely looking for two. I don't think they ran at all in the end.
Okay, no, they said no. So what? They run halfway down the pitch, see if it's a misfield, and then just turn back if it's not running the two.
But this is the problem, you know, is that 30 of 12, one dot ball, all of a sudden you're going 30 of 11, 30 of 9, 30 of 8, and that game gets away from you very quickly.
Yeah. Come on, Miller, let's give us some fireworks here. Nokia, you just got to hit the deck and keep it straight.
Yeah, slow ball. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
This is tough for Miller. I think he's going to probably try to step across his stumps. Maybe come down the track even.
Let's see, we'll cut it there. Yeah, I think that's a leg cutter, by the way.
Is that up the back here? That's brave.
Even Phil Salt was impressed. Right.
Okay, let's go.
Keelan Miller, what can you do? These balls have to disappear.
It's got to go.
Well, that will disappear. Will it?
Or
will it? Or will it? Or will it? No, it won't. It's been caught in the deep as well. Colin Ingram once again.
I thought he got close to the boundary rope, but that's got to be. And
I think we can probably officially say the Victoria Capitals, who have been the best side the entire competition, have held their nerve. They've come back, and it looks like they will be in the final on Saturday. Dave Miller, not as fine as the effort. I personally think he gave himself too much to do. I think they could have been a bit more aggressive earlier, and because you don't want to be taking on Nokia at 16 runs and over, you know. So yeah, it's frustrating, and it doesn't help that they had a bit of a top order collapse. You know, Jason Roy, Josh Butler not contributing is not what they would have wanted. I just do feel I think he could have gone a bit earlier. I mean, a strike of 114 for a Dave Miller innings is not characteristic of him at all.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a pity. It would have been nice to have it gone down to the wire, but you know, if it still does go down to the wire, this might be one of the greatest sporting comebacks ever with the Shamo
and Ngidi doing the business.
What's going through their heads now? Have fun or be a hero, try something audacious. I mean, you have to be audacious. You have to do something stupid to win this game now.
Yeah, I mean, is Shamsi thinking I'm going to ramp this guy? No, I can tell you right now what's going through their head. I can tell you what's going through Ngidi's head. You're not running, mate. You are facing these 3 balls from Nokia. You enjoy that. And Shamsi's thinking right now, I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Let's see.
Oh, he does. He gets paid. Yeah, you see Ngidi's like, nah, dude.
Yeah, that wasn't a single. Oh, maybe there's a signal. There's a single there. When you're chasing 30 of 9
there probably is a single there, and Ngidi's just he's leaning on his back going, no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that's criminal that they haven't run that actually.
For me, I just love the lack of intent. Gideon's like, nah.
Yeah.
Shame. Come on, what did Gidi say? He's saying, give me the last over. He's saying, come on, Shambo, like knock a couple of runs off me. Give me like 24 and I'll chase in the last over. That's what he'll be justifying it now.
I'd love to see Shamsi hit Nokia for 6.
Yeah, I mean, surely right now you're just playing for you're playing for like points in the squad. Yeah, now you know this is no rivalry. This is bragging rights. This is walking into the test like in a couple of weeks time going, how was that 6? Did you go and fetch?
I want a little reverse scoop here.
I'll definitely get out the way and stick my bat up there and run a rampant. Nope, he goes for and it's out and it's Jimmy Nation. I think it's plucked it out the sky. Pretoria Capitals have won, and that is it. We have a finalist. Pretoria Capitals will be the first team in the inaugural SA20 final. A very jubilant captain in Wayne Parnell does stride out to the middle. Paarl Royals, well, they fought hard. They almost messed up getting into the semi-final, but at the end of the day, the team that has been so good have bowled them out for 124, which I think sums it up, isn't it? This team's bowling, they'll back themselves against any target.
Yeah, that was really great and quality from the Capitals. I think they just squeezed them out there. They got the wicket. I mean, early doors they really won that battle and got their big men out. Yeah, well done to them. Fair play. They've deserved it, as you said. It would have felt crazy for the team to have been so dominant in the group stage, not get to the final. But also well done to Paarl Royals. Barely got to the stage, but still, made a fair show of it. There was still a couple of balls ago we were still speaking of a chance of them winning. So it's not like they're completely out of it the whole time, which is the excitement of T20 cricket. But yeah, confident win, I'd say, for the Capitals.
Correct. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. And I believe you will hopefully be back on... You're not back tomorrow, are you? No, you're not.
I think I'm back tomorrow, but I'll be here for the final.
Hopefully be here for the final, and we'll find you some commentators to join you there. Maybe you can do some live crossings, and you'll see us in the stadium. So, yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody, for the semi-final. As we can see, their wicket maiden over, by the way, was Nokia's in the last. Pretoria Capitals there, 124 for 10. 153 for 8. And then Burley and the Paarl Royals out for 124. Pretoria Capitals will progress to the final, and we'll be live for that. We'll be live tomorrow again. It is looking a bit gloomy tomorrow, lots of rain forecast, so hopefully we'll get a game. It is JSK up against the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. So the two teams of the players, of the guys you see on screen, will be battling out tomorrow. JSK are my boys, the Sunrisers Eastern Cape for Dan. And to take you through that game tomorrow, it will be Matt Young. Roscoe will be returning, as well as